life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
A car accident in Summerdale has put a 6-year-old girl in critical condition in the hospital. 25-year-old Zelvin Gomez is now facing charges for driving while under the influence of alcohol. The little girl was in the vehicle with Gomez when he was speeding and hit a fence. This caused the car to roll over and the girl to be ejected. Immigration officials are also involved in this case since Gomez is here in the country illegally. R&B singer John Legend is coming to Alabama. He will perform this October at the Orion Amphitheater in Huntsville. Tickets go on sale this coming Friday morning. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
I got worms.
I got hairy legs.
Shut up, silly woman.
Stop playing with it.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the third show of the week. Happy Wednesday, everybody in the listening audience. I'm your host, Joey Clark. If you're just tuning in online, appreciate it. This is a humble talk radio show out of the hot and humid Montgomery, Alabama. I don't know if I'm ready for the summer. Eddie, my co-host, is here.
It's hot, baby.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Have you been out in it, let's say, between 11 and 4?
Yeah, on the weekend.
Man.
It's bad. Real bad.
I know
I'm kind of like that we're here
yeah.
during those hours for the most part.
But I know it's Alabama, but as I get older, it seems to only get hotter.
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 Wait, are you saying harder or
both?
It reminded me of a scene from Ted. Hey, let's move on here with Boston Gals. And let's go, as is tradition on Wednesdays, to Jeff Poor, host of the Jeff Poor Show. And, of course, he's also editor-in-chief at 1819 News. Jeff, how you doing this afternoon?
Doing well, Joey. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. So, one on state political stuff, I want to start with this call by the Golden Goose of Alabama, Will Ainsworth, not only to do all the infrastructure projects he's been talking about a while, but recently he said John Cooper, the head of DOT, the Department of Transportation here in the state, needs to be fired.
Oh.
What do you think's bringing this on?
And here's the context. On my 4th of July holiday, I went to Sand Mountain, Henniger, Alabama, for this event that the House Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader put on, and Will Ainsworth was there. They said, "Oh, why don't you do your radio show up there?" I was like, "Well, guys, I don't really do a 4th of July radio show, but I'll pre-tape some interviews," and that's what we did. And he sat down. We kind of talking about Ainsworth and he's telling me about how he's not a traditional lieutenant governor. He doesn't just preside over the Senate and go to ribbon cutting. He pushes real policy. Now, they have neutered that office. Steve Windham, when he was a lieutenant governor, you had a Republican lieutenant governor, you had Democrats different in the show. They took all his power away. We remember that kind of weird phenomenon. Go Google with them.
Is it also true that he urinated on the floor?
That's what I was getting at. That's the allegation. So anyway,
I just said sorry.
back to what I was getting at. I mean, the office hasn't been that important. When remember Bentley had his problems, Ivey goes to be governor and it stayed vacant for 2 years, right? But Ainsworth's kind of taken on a different role as lieutenant governor. I mean, he pushed the grocery tax, a lot of other things, such as some of the economic development stuff and some of the military stuff. But he's been an active lieutenant governor, and he said, "Look, here's what I'm doing here." And one of the biggest things I did was I called for the firing of John Cooper, and that kind of sent him off in that direction. I mean, when does a lieutenant? Have we lieutenant governor taken that kind of a bold move on anything? And I mean, I think he's got a point.
Yeah, and it almost seems like he has no fear of any blowback from, say, the governor's office, and he does seem like the de facto leader of the state already. Not necessarily endorsing Will Ainsworth. It just seems obvious that he's sort of the governor apparent at this point. Jeff, you still there?
I'm here. I'm sorry, something dropped there, but I'm here.
But you think I'm on solid ground that he seems like the heir apparent and is sort of, it's titles are one thing, but the way you act and who actually gets listened to, I think, means a lot more in terms of leadership.
Let me say this, and I think he is the heir apparent. But Joey, we're due one of these election cycles in Alabama where things didn't go like they were supposed to. The last one we had, Robert Bentley being elected governor, he wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be Bradley Byrd. Guy Hunt and winning the governor's race in '86.
Yep.
But like 2010, that was probably the last one in freshest in our mind. Aren't we kind of due? It just Ainsworth's supposed to be the next governor, but who knows what 26 looks like? Who knows? If somebody wins the presidential election, it's not supposed to, like Joe Biden, and you have a very revved up Republican base, almost Tea Party-esque, and they don't go with an Ainsworth. They go with a Tim James or somebody like that. I mean, I don't know. My money would be on Ainsworth right now, but I do think we're kind of due one of these election cycles where things don't go as planned.
Amen. I would love to see that. I think the obvious opponent is Steve Marshall, and does Marshall actually want to run for governor, or does Tuberville actually run for election? The last time I asked Senator Tuberville, he said, "Yeah, I'm going to stay up here." But who knows? Maybe he makes his own choice, or it could be sort of a bolt out of the blue, a name we don't know who actually has the money to get their name ID out there, comparable to the Britt campaign in that Senate race, where they just plaster their face and name all over the state. And I think you're right, though. We're due, and it seems like the generation that sort of swapped different cabinet positions and ran everything, they're now retiring or no longer with us. So we're kind of due for a new generation to fight over who's going to have the reins.
Yeah, and I don't even know necessarily it's like a Steve Marshall. I don't know. I mean, I think if something crazy like that's going to happen, it's going to be so far out of the blue, right?
Oh, yeah.
That we didn't see it coming.
Well, I believe you had John Merrill on your show today. Do you think he jumps back into Alabama politics?
So we actually talked about this. We talked about it on the air, but I don't. He's. If you look at the way things are set up, Joey, that there's movement. So Ivey's termed out, and then theoretically, then Ainsworth moves up to governor. He runs for that. That opens up lieutenant governor. He's termed out. Who runs for lieutenant governor? But you look down ballot. You don't just look at Merrill. What would Wes Allen, state secretary of state, not run for lieutenant governor? And then you have a new lieutenant governor, and then in 2030, this sounds crazy to be talking about, he wouldn't have anything to run for after being secretary of state. The musical chairs are all kind of cluttered right now. So would he make to jump out and run at 26? for lieutenant governor. And would you have a Merrill, West Allen, Twinkle Kavanaugh sort of showdown? But we were talking about this. The problem with Merrill is like he's making considerably more money in the private sector than he would be in the running as a statewide politician right now. So it's hard to go back, he said. But it would have to be something big time is what I think is the way we put it.
Yeah, no, and I think he is one of the most talented sort of retail politicians I've seen come through the studio and I've talked to. So I think he could be very competitive, especially also if people, just to be blunt, believe he has a contrite heart, things that happened as he left the Secretary of State's office. So I see him as a competitor if he makes that choice. And then another name is Rick Pate, the Agriculture Secretary, or Secretary of Agriculture. Do you think he's a little ambitious?
I don't know. Like, where does he raise the money? And so looking at these guys, and you see at Ozark, BCA, Alpha, and all the big mules are going to give to who they perceive to be the front runner, which is Ozark. Where does a Rick Pate raise money from? And you're going to run statewide, all 67 counties, and it's a slog. I mean, they have to come and be on the stupid Jeff Poor show and go talk to the Republican club in whatever county on a Tuesday night. And that's not cheap. Where does that come? Who does that?
Wait, you charge people to be on your show? I need to start doing that.
No, but just say you just all the time and energy and effort you have to do to be out there and build up your name ID. I don't charge anybody to be on my show.
No, I
don't start that.
Just joking. That's not true at all. I'm just being an ass.
Because there's some people in the state that would probably think about it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Like, yeah, well.
Yep.
I just keep stepping on things. People peeing on the floor, and I'm in a mood today. Hey, let's shift to national politics, because I'm sitting here seeing these headlines roll in each day. This knife fight within the Democratic Party. It's now looks like Dick Blumenthal, Richard Blumenthal, is now kind of throwing Biden under the bus. Pelosi leaving him just hung out to dry. And yet Biden seems to be sticking in there. I mean, what do you make of all the rumblings that have been going on around the White House the last few days?
I think these people who aren't sticking with Biden at this point, it's too late. It's over. Like, you number one, he won the delegates. He won, he campaigned, he won primaries, he earned it, even though people didn't know what they wrote for. Guess what, guys? Elections have consequences. But the Democratic Party can do whatever it wants to do. I just think it's too late. I don't think there's the energy there. I think it's more like it's more top-down energy to replace him. I don't think the grassroots. The thing you needed to see that tells me that Biden's here to stay was AOC saying that she was backing Biden, and so was the other members of the squad. If the far left flank isn't really down with this idea of a last-minute nominee, then you're not going to get it. It's just not going to get done. I think that's the problem, and they don't have where the energy and the loudest voices in the room back in this effort. Then this is just all detrimental to their cause, but it's all for show.
Well, and just watching how Trump has been behaving at the campaign rallies, and I saw a quote from Steve Bannon, who's from prison, giving quotes still, saying that if Biden's the nominee, that's the perfect outcome for us. So they really are in a tough spot because Biden seems just John Kennedy put it great. He's politically as dead as fried chicken.
Whatever that means. Yeah, but I mean, like, the Democratic Party is a brand, though, I think is what they got to start thinking about. And the long-term, like, sustainability of the Democratic Party, if they try this little coup or they try to have a civil war this cycle, I mean, I've always thought the Democratic Party was due, Joey. How do you have all these different little groups, their different little agendas, and they were able to unify to beat the big bad orange man, but how do you get the tree huggers to agree with LGBTQ folks, to agree with the pro-choice folks, to agree on all of this, and you just can't. I mean, at some point, that's going to erupt into a very bizarre kind of tribalism, and that's not what a political party is about.
No, but we've been seeing it in the Republican Party these last few years. I think it's honestly, for lack of a better word, healthy for the nation. If maybe you saw that in the Democratic Party, and I'm just seeing stuff reported today that the Congressional Black Caucus is lunching at noon today, and people are really concerned about, say, these down ballot races. So if you're Shamari Figures and Biden's the head of the ticket, that could really hurt your turnout efforts.
I agree with that. I think so goes Biden, Trump, in the second congressional district. So goes that race, especially straight ticket voting. But I mean, James Clyburn is kind of the big wig in the CBC. Hasn't shown any willingness to abandon Biden right now. I mean, he did say something about Kamala Harris. I don't know. I think the further we get along in this cycle, if they stick with Biden, and the low information voters who start to get engaged about this. And this narrative isn't going anywhere about Biden and his cognitive decline. If it's still out there, that's going to have a profound impact on these down ballot races.
And then
people will see it, and they'll go Republican, and you'll see this weird sort of thing, like in Wisconsin with Tammy Baldwin having a 4-point lead over a Republican opponent, but Biden trailing Trump by like whatever. I think you'll see that kind of narrow and things get back to kind of the natural order.
Well, and it does seem like Act One was the primaries and Trump's convictions and all the trials, and the culmination of Act One was that first debate. Act Two is now, is there a plot to remove Biden? It seems plain as day. And folks, keep in mind the Republican convention is just next week. So there's going to be a lot of a VP announcement for Trump. And then I guess Act Three will be after the Democrats' convention. What do they decide? And as we head into October, what sort of dirty tricks does everybody have up their sleeve? But what do you make of the sudden revelation by all these media folks that Biden's old and just he's lost his fastball? Like, it just
why did they play the? That's what I don't understand. Why did they play along all these years, and then just all of a sudden now they're good? Now they decided let's make a change. I mean, Joey. How aware of things you have to know that there was something wrong long before the Trump-Biden debate?
I saw it in 2020. Right. I mean, he was a little fresher in 2020, but there were moments of, for lack of a better word, despair. Like just he would get into these tones where I'm like, that doesn't sound like a healthy man who's got vision. It sounds like somebody in the twilight of life. And so, yeah, it's just anybody with eyes who watches this every day, I think, saw this. So it obviously seems like somebody in the press rooms or at the editorial level is saying, okay, time to throw this guy under the bus, like the bigwigs, New York Times, Washington Post. You're seeing a lot of, it's just an obvious, I think, contrived sort of, let's get this guy out of here.
This is too late, though. And you're right. Maybe they're just going through the motions, but they do. I think. You know, the regular flunky at the New York Times knew there were problems there. It didn't take much to figure that out. And now they're kind of just jumping ships like rats off a burning ship or something here. This is what it looks like to me. I just, they had to know. And it's too late. It's too late to change this. They should have, if they wanted somebody different, they knew this might be a problem, they should have decided to do this a year ago.
Well, we'll see what happens. But like I said a little earlier, I would love to see, I've been saying this for years, a populist crack up within the Democratic Party. I think it would be very healthy for everybody to see that behemoth sort of go to pieces. They won't go away, folks. I always think this extinction of the Republicans or the extinction of the Democrats is just, you're not going the way of the Whigs unless there's like a civil war. So I think they'll survive, but it would be good to see sort of these last gasp of, I think, a generation that's done their best work 20 years ago to give up the reins.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Clinton-Obama military-industrial complex, that's what it feels like, and it's probably time for them to move on.
Well, I appreciate your time as always. If folks want to check out what you're writing about, thinking about, how can they do so?
Twitter.com/Jeff_Poor.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me on.
272-9228 is the number if you want to jump in, just like Jeff Poor did there. Andrew Szymanski, Councilor Szymanski from the Montgomery City Council, will be joining us for his regular stop at 1 o'clock here, second Wednesday of the month. And we're we're definitely going to talk about, of course, the ongoing crime issue. But there are some other things that, honestly, I'm not going to pretend like I know the full story, but there was this veto recently by the mayor with new housing options and stuff. So we're going to get into that a little bit.
Good idea. He
When
knows a little bit more about it than we do.
When he shows up. And I really do look forward to seeing him because we need to get more of the counselors on here.
I like the fact that he shows up every Wednesday. He's great. He comes in. There's no holds barred. We can ask anything. He can. People can call in and talk to him. He's really open. I
believe Julie Beard and Grimes would be on quick. I think Marche Johnson would hop on. I feel like I have a good relationship with her.
I'd love to see her on.
Yeah, and I just don't know CC and Aronde very well.
Well, it's a great way for the candidates and the guys in office and ladies in office to meet their constituents. I mean, I'm surprised and amazed every day when somebody says, "Hey, I saw you. I listened to you." So many people in Montgomery and the Tri-County area listen to us on the radio. And
how
watch
many
us on the
folks,
YouTube.
by the way, were like, "When was Sheriff Mark Harrell on?" Like it was not last Friday. It was the Friday before that.
Well, on top of that, apparently couldn't find it on the WACV archive, so I suggested the YouTube.
Try the YouTube.
But yeah, that was a big issue.
And just to be clear, like when somebody brings us a local issue of concern, whether it's Montgomery or Watauga County, we're going to talk about it.
Of course.
Like, I don't know. I won't go negative. It just sometimes I get a little frustrated. Now, did you watch the mayor's town hall last night?
I did not. Had some other things going on. I saw a lot of Facebook comments, good and bad. It sounded like it was a pretty packed house.
It was actually. Now, turn your camera a little more. Yeah, that's perfect. It was only like 200 something people online, and I was one of them. I was watching from the comfort of my bed. They put on actually a pretty good production. Good. Like production wise, the look of it.
Sound was clear, audio was clear.
Yeah, it seemed like, and I'd felt bad for, I can't remember her name. She is a reverend at an Episcopal church, and it seemed like she had never emceed anything, which I've been there, where it's like I'm supposed to run the room, and I'm like, I don't want to really.
Hello.
No, I've learned to let people, if in those town hall settings, I think it's better to kind of let people talk and be rowdy within certain guardrails. Like, don't just try to stick to the questions. No, let folks go.
Let the dialogue go.
But then you sort of rein it back in and you get back to the point. And they went long. I think it went all the way to 8 o'clock, a little past 8 o'clock. Initially, I'll just put it bluntly, part of me is like, why has everything got to be so dumb? But then the questions got a little better.
What do you mean dumb? As far as you felt the questions?
It seems like every town hall I go to, we're starting at square one in the conversation all over again.
Well, I think part of that is, and I see where you're going with that, but part of that is you've got new people.
Sure.
And they're playing catch up. So maybe a town hall review would be good to go, or preview would be good to see before you go. Because I agree. I see a lot of the same questions get asked over and over. And I'm like, and then 45 minutes.
And then the questions got better. There was one question that was just completely off the usual script. What are the big issues right now? It was a young woman who was talking about, hey, in these high schools and middle schools, we don't have any financial literacy as part of the curriculum.
I think ridiculous.
She made an amazing point. Heck, even a Catholic, I didn't have that stuff. I think the private schools don't do a great job of that either.
If I remember correctly, in health class at Capitol Heights, we had like a 3-day tutorial. And then one time in a math class, we had a couple of day tutorial on checkbooks. But that's it. And that's it.
And by the way, I didn't figure out how to run a credit account and like get a credit score until I was like 30.
Yeah, and that's it, Joey, because they don't teach you. They don't teach taxes. They don't teach any of that. I remember some of my tenants, and some of them are really good friends of mine now. They used to mail me cash to the point I had to go to them and say, hey, don't mail me any more cash. Get a money order. Okay.
People are start thinking Eddie's a front.
Well, then they would send me the money order, but it wouldn't be filled out. No copy of theirs, everything together. So public education really needs to step it up in that department. Just some common sense. Counting back change. Just some simple things.
Yeah. No, so there was questions about, okay, we got all these adults here. When are you going to talk to the young people that are actually doing the killing and the dying?
Good point.
In like that part of the community. I thought that was a fantastic question. Of course, permitless carry came up. I still maintain that, like, I don't think it's doing the work that you think it is for the problem that we have right now.
Agree with you 1,000%.
That's why I asked Kevin Murphy point blank, like, you oppose this. Do you think it accounts for what we're seeing? And it's like, maybe. Like, I think it's a maybe. Because nobody can give me a number of how many arrests and guns did you take off the streets just based off of somebody not having a permit at a traffic stop. I'm sure they take a lot of guns off the streets in other ways and sting operations and things that do go on. But I'm wondering how many folks are actually being stopped. Oh, you don't have a permit. Give me your firearm.
That's a good question. I've had to turn mine over a couple times when I got pulled over, but
I think the honest answer is people don't know. So,
are they keeping records?
Right. So people are making a leap to a lot of this stuff too. It's been an open carry state for a long, long time.
Yep.
So
but a lot of people don't know that, Joey.
Yeah. Like that did come up though.
In fact, I did see on there, and I thought this was funny as could be. The mayor's picture is on there, and he had a pin on, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the city flag. But how many people said, "What's that pin he's wearing? What's that flag he's wearing?" It's the city flag, folks. Calm down.
And that's another thing.
Calm down.
That's another thing. Thank you for reminding me of this. As I'm watching, and I'm watching from home.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where somebody said something, and the whole room just starts chuckling and laughing. And I've been at town halls, city council meetings, and even when there should be tension in the room, which sometimes there is, the people of this city aren't at each other's throats, and they're often much quicker to share a laugh and kind of try to get along with one another is the first instinct of everybody around here.
Well, they all know we are in it together.
Yeah.
We are in the same crap bucket together. We're in it together.
There you go. Sneaking in your politics. But I'm not political. You're the political. I'm like, exactly. I think in this day and age, everybody's political. If you have a worldview,
you're political.
Yeah. No, I'm in the camp of, I think, the cynic, like the capital C old school ones of like, I love people, but y'all are doing it real bad. Good luck with that one.
Well, sometimes I hate it, but I do see things like that, and I go, you know what? I'm just going to step away and watch this from afar. I know how it's going to end, but
I just find it refreshing, the human element at these local things. That's the refreshing part, that people really aren't. That idea of hate is, I think, mostly a product of media. There's some clearly worked up, hateful people out there.
Yeah, but at these meetings, everybody's in the same group together, and they are concerned enough citizens where they want to come together, and they know the person sitting next to them is not their enemy. We're in all this together.
Well, and then there was one moment we're talking about, say, panhandlers in the medians.
Okay.
I thought actually the mayor was asked point blank about homelessness, and he gave a pretty good answer. He said, number one, we did this whole land swap for Whitewater, moved Salvation Army, and they've got like $5 million to reinvest and like build a nice Salvation Army, and nobody wants it. Like, it's the whole not in my backyard thing, which we got a Salvation Army would be very helpful to a homelessness problem.
I would think so. Yes.
It needs to be, that needs to be solved quickly. But another thing the mayor brought up is on the questions of panhandling, or another question was about, can there be an ordinance that holds parents of these juveniles who are committing violent, heinous crimes?
Yeah.
Can we hold the parents accountable? The mayor said, I will look into it. He worries about legal, like how much can they do legally as a city? And then he suggested, well, maybe sometimes you just got to do it. And then, ask forgiveness, not for permission.
It happens a lot, Joey.
You know what? I'll say 100% I agree with you there, Stephen Reed.
What happens in politics every day where you say you can't do something legally, and they'll say, I'll see you in court.
Right. And because you're going to get multiple opinions. And the reason I'm saying this, I'm in violent agreement on this in particular, is I've been to so many of these town halls or these local things. People come up with a real concern or question, and they go, well, that's up to the federal courts.
That's a lot.
That's up to the state government. That's up to the feds. Like it's.
I got potholes in my road. Oh, that's somebody else.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating when it's like, hey, how about you just do it, and then we'll see what happens, because you actually might solve the problem while it's all held up in court.
Right.
So, and that's a larger problem beyond anybody at the city. Just how much this weird nexus that we have, a weird web of government. And who has authority to do what? It's almost absurd at sometimes.
Sometimes you got to challenge it. And like I said, he's one to take that challenge. I see why not. What's the worst that could happen?
No,
we go to court. We go to court all the time.
Well, and by the way, as people are meeting, like folks keep talking about like, oh, we need the occupational tax, we need new ordinances, all this stuff. It's like, how quickly are we going to get on this? How quickly can we get on this? Because as people are meeting and at that town hall, watching the town hall, there are more shootings overnight.
Yes, there was.
Like you said, the Walmart?
Walmart, I believe, on the boulevard, there was a video. It was a disturbing video, and I hope it's gone now, but it showed someone getting shot. And then they had another report of 2 individuals, I don't remember if they're male or female, but they showed up at the hospital with bullet wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's how a lot of the shootings we find out about. The hospital reports, hey, somebody showed up. Nobody calls the cops.
Right.
You find out at the hospital.
And then there's another thing I noticed, that there are a lot of folks who genuinely, I think, love the mayor. And anybody who criticizes the city of Montgomery, they're going to, be fighting.
Yep.
It becomes an identity thing. It becomes a group competing with a group thing. And for all the good that is in the city, like when you look at downtown and what should be, well, there was one developer who I don't think is on the scene anymore. That's good. But you know what I mean? Like what was done in all the years past, I think downtown is still keep going with that momentum and building it out.
Yeah.
And as much as I politically and ideologically agree with, say, the underlying philosophy of EJI, and often, I think it is bringing in a lot of money and a lot of tourism from all over the world.
I'm for that.
But every time that you see big problems like the safety issue, it's time to get on top of it. So I will just say this, Mr. Mayor, do more what you did last night. Don't do it every few months or when there's a big outcry. Do it all the time. And I know there are going to be some times where people are busy. They don't give a damn. That's kind of the nature of our society at this moment.
Yeah.
But do it more often. Own the issue. And you'll be rewarded if you actually solve things and start going in the right direction. 272-9228. Hey, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And they're at River Region Contracting. Todd Clark and his team are ready to help you with that roof of yours.
Yes, they are, Joey.
Could be an asphalt roof or a metal roof, and you've actually had them work on both at different properties,
on a regular occasion. Yeah, the biggest challenge to me, because it's my own personal roof, was the metal roof. Because when I bought it, the guy I bought it from, the roof salesman, said, "Hey, you'll never put another roof on your house because it's a metal roof. However, you got to make sure you maintain it."
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, maintain it. It's a metal roof. What could go wrong? Well, that metal roof has to be attached to your house with screws, and those screws have grommets on them, and over time, those grommets can...
They're like rubber.
Yeah, they can dry
They
out.
get brittle or almost like tar-like, too. Yeah.
Especially here in Alabama. And so I had them come out. I took advantage of the free roof inspection, and they said, "Hey, it looks okay, but if I were you, it's just a suggestion, I'd go ahead and replace the screws because they need to be replaced every so many years anyway." So I had a couple dollars in my pocket. I said, "Let's do it." They gave me an estimate. They stuck by that estimate to the penny. They showed me a few screws that I had issues with, but they were done in a little over a day. No mess, no nothing. I never knew they were there. And to me, that's great. No flat tires. The last thing you want is flat tires after you have roofs. I'm telling you.
So free inspections, free estimates. They're insurance specialists. They can walk you through that whole insurance claims process.
They sure can.
They've helped Eddie. They've helped a lot of our listeners, folks. We lost count. So check them out today. Give them a call at 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellows on the radio, sent you. Go back to a full board of calls when we come back. Be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
It is JT broadcasting live with Operation Help and Hope. This is your last chance this week to donate items for the Chemo Comfort Care Bags. At the Cancer Wellness Foundation of Central Alabama, we're looking for fuzzy socks, Boost nutritional drinks, blankets, digital thermometers, travel tissues, hand sanitizer, anything that could help a cancer patient going through chemo feel more comfortable and secure. And your donation goes a long way towards making that happen. Speaking of being comfortable, we're at Mobility Plus in Millbrook, right here at 199 Ashton Plaza Street, right off Highway 14 in Millbrook. They specialize in mobility equipment like walkers and rollators, wheelchairs, transport chairs, for sale and rent. The Big Blue Barrel, by the way, here till the end of the week. so you can bring those supplies by anytime through Friday. But come on by and see us. We're here till 12:30, broadcasting live at Mobility Plus in Millbrook. JT for Blue Water Broadcasting, Operation Help and Hope.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For many years, my team and I have worked diligently to provide our veterans with top-notch service, as it is our honor to serve those who have served us in the armed forces. Madeline and I are certified veteran lending specialists. Nationwide, there are over 22 million veterans that qualify to purchase a home through the VA loan program. Yet less than 2 million of them currently have a VA home loan. Many lenders do not keep up with the ever-changing guidelines and benefits of the VA loan program. They are intimidated by the program, resulting in many veterans not obtaining VA loans. This is unacceptable. The VA home loan program offers service members and veterans with 100% financing. You've already paid your down payment. If you are currently serving or have honorably discharged, we would love an opportunity to discuss how the VA program can serve you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Thank you for your service. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Did you know that 1 in every 3 people are expected to be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime? 1 in 3. That's an astonishing statistic that impacts almost everyone. The Cancer Wellness Foundation of Alabama serves cancer patients in the River region and gives help and hope to those who need assistance on the road to recovery. This is where we come in. Blue Water Broadcasting and Riverside Chevrolet ask you to join us in our Operation Help and Hope. We're collecting items to go in Chemo Comfort Care bags that are offered to all new cancer patients. Items we're collecting include new in packaging fuzzy socks, Boost nutritional drinks, blankets, digital thermometers, hard candy, pill boxes, travel-sized tissues, small hand sanitizers, lip balm, puzzle books, and pens. To bring your donation to Riverside Chevrolet on 231 in Wetumpka. Riverside Chevrolet. When you think Chevy, think Riverside. Donate what you can. Operation Help and Hope from Blue Water Broadcasting and Riverside Chevrolet.
To find out how you can help, go to newstalk931.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Ernest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Ernest, 334-279-7431. Ernest Financial, LLC.
Feeling a bit better out there today? Yes, it is. The humidity's come down just a notch. Mostly sunny, still hot, high 92 to 94, but the heat index may actually fall short of 100 today. That would be good. And the rain chances, while not zero, are certainly minuscule today. Our low temperature tonight, 72. Tomorrow, the rain chances still small. Same thing on Friday, but, not zero. I've got us around the mid-90s for a high tomorrow. Then upper 90s begin Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early next week. And over the weekend, a few random storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Do you have big plans this summer? Dive into summer with an ASE Credit Union vacation loan. Whether you've got a trip coming up, projects at home, or just need a little extra cash, we've got you covered. So don't put your plans on hold. Visit yourasecu.com or stop by and see us today.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Quick traffic update from Eddie Bader.
This is what I was told from a caller, and I think there were several callers that were calling us. Basically, 65 is beginning to back up. Apparently, there's a crash, and it's backing up all the way to exit 4 on 85. So my guess is it's going to keep backing up because this person said they were
85 south.
Yeah, they're sitting in traffic in the middle of it, and one of them said, I seen on the text that somebody's sitting there without AC right now.
Oh no,
that's got to be miserable.
No,
I would probably go knock on the car window next to me and say, "Can I just sit in your car for a little bit?"
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll tow it later. Let's go to line 3 and talk
Yeah.
to biologist. Hey, biologist.
Hey there. I've lived in this town 52 years or around it. And about 4 or 5 years ago, we're at the soccer fields out there next to AUM. And we're sitting there and we just hear this. Someone says, "Oh, listen to the fireworks." I said, "Those aren't fireworks. Those are gunshots." This was 4 or 5 years ago. And then one of my friends, their mom had something hit their car. They took it to a car shop. They said, "Oh, that's a bullet hole." That's common.
Yep.
At the car place when they went to get it fixed. And then they do what? And this happened at 8:00 on Atlanta Highway on like a Tuesday morning. And the guy at the car shop that was fixing it, "Oh, we get these all the time. That's very common to have bullet holes in your car." And the more I think back, 25 years ago, my buddy was a rookie at MPD, and he goes, "Dana, shootings happen all the time here. It's just how you classify them. That's how you keep it hidden from the public. You classify it certain ways as an assault or some kind of death." He goes, "We have murders in Montgomery, and this was 25 years ago. But it's a lot more common now." And, it's got to the point, when I grew up in the 90s, or actually 88 to 90 when I graduated JD in 90, we'd go out and stuff. My daughter's, she'll be a senior at a private school here, but they don't even hardly go out anymore. My daughter, they stay at someone's house and watch movies. They don't go out like I used to in 88, 89, 90 because she goes, "It's dangerous out there. It's not the same as when I grew up back in the day." And she goes, "People they'll look at you wrong and you think you're going to get shot and you're scared." And that's what Montgomery's become, where teenagers can't even be teenagers. Like I grew up being a teenager, hanging out till 11:30, 12. And if someone got in a beef, they had a fist fight, and that was done, even though we all had guns because we were all deer hunters in our car. And you can't do that nowadays. And that's bad, but my daughter can't even. If they go out, she's home by 10 o'clock because she gets scared. It's that bad out there on the streets of Montgomery. And she goes, "Daddy, you just don't know." And I was like, "Well, I'm glad I raised you a certain way, but I'm also sad you're missing some of the fun of growing up as a teenager." And the same thing. It's like my daughters are at the movies right now because they're scared to go at night. That tells you something. They're at a matinee.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. As I go about my daily life and my usual routine, I don't feel unsafe here. I just don't. Who knows what could happen? But there are moments like, hey, I used to like to go see a movie by myself and say, go to the 10 o'clock screening at the IMAX or whatever. And now I don't want to do that. Just walking by myself over the, say, Festival Plaza or even Chantilly. There's these little moments where you kind of go, well, you're just making a choice, but I wouldn't have ever thought that 10 years ago.
Heck no.
No, and during the day in Montgomery, I'm around town doing all kind of work. It's fine. But after a certain time, back when we were kids, we'd stay out past 10:30 and not be scared of being killed. Nowadays, kids are being scared of being killed.
Yeah. And
that's sad.
Yeah.
Because I think you do miss out a little fun of being a teenager.
Oh, definitely.
Really. So that's what I have to say. I hope Montgomery is a great town. I grew up in this town. I just live on the outskirts of town. But it is to the point now after about, final thing I say, we come from Birmingham for soccer. Both my daughters play soccer in Birmingham, so we come home and we get on the Western Boulevard because I live near Snowden area. And my daughter, people will look at you and it's scary. There are people panhandling at 10 o'clock at night and will walk straight up to your car window and knock on it. And I tell my daughter, I said, this is a town that's become, I think it go back to the old way, but it's going to take a little bit of, I think, administration, a really good mayor, and a really good police chief, and we have a great, great sheriff. But it's going to take the other ones to make this town back to where Montgomery was and could be again. So those are my comments, gentlemen. Have a great day, okay?
Thank you, biologist.
And yeah, when I read, say, David Thrasher's emails he's putting out, he's being harsh in his criticism, but the underlying point is I want the mayor to succeed.
Yeah,
like even the biggest critics
bound to fail. You want it to succeed.
I'll put it this way: there are definitely some critics who just don't like somebody.
That's gonna happen.
But in terms of like constructive criticism, and there's going to be just disagreements on over how you get money revenues, like how you do a lot of different things. There's going to be argument. But generally speaking, I don't want the town to go to crap.
Nobody does.
And I don't think anybody wants their kids dying. At least that's the conventional wisdom. You sometimes got to start to entertain. Well, maybe some folks just don't care because they're so messed up themselves.
Well, there's a lot of those out there, Joey. You know that.
Or they care, but it's in a very reactive, emotional way, and it's not the small steps that lead to that big thing, that big tragedy.
Well, a lot of times those small steps aren't taken, and when there's something big happens, and I hear it all the time. The last time I remember my son or my daughter, we were playing sports, youth sports. Now all of a sudden they seem like an adult. They want nothing to do with me anymore. I don't know who their friends are. Well, you can kind of tell what the problem is. You know, if you don't know who your kids' friends are, there's an issue right there. There's an issue right there.
And again, counselor Andrew Szymanski will be joining us here in the 1 o'clock hour. Look forward to talking to him. We're going to talk this issue and many of the others.
Yeah.
There are other issues going on in the city, so I want to get his perspective on what's going on, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We've got to hit another very quick break. We'll come back to more calls for the top hour. First, though, this part of the program brought to you by Clearwater's Property Management. And there at Clearwater's, Reed Waters and team are ready to help you with tree trimming.
Well, we had a couple storms come through, Joey, so I know in the Wetumpka area and up Fire Lake, we've had some trees go down.
Or maybe even tree removal.
Yeah.
Like you just want to get that old oak tree away.
Falls, man.
What would you say is like the worst tree that gets like real tall that you
Pine
start?
Trees.
Pine trees. Yeah.
Pine trees, absolutely worst. When we lived in South Carolina, we went through Hurricane Hugo. We had literally 48 pine trees down in our backyard.
Right.
Every pine tree that was there, because they don't have a real deep root system. So they just come on up.
Oh, and then even if you're talking about an old, say, oak tree,
yeah,
and it's gotten, say, 80 foot, and you don't have that much dirt underneath that thing, like your lot is just small, maybe you're on a hill and stuff, that needs to be looked at.
Well, a lot of those hardwoods like that will get diseased on the inside, and you don't even know it. And then when it does fall, you're like, well, no wonder it's got this big hole in the center of it.
Or it comes out from the root system. Yeah. So they can help you with get rid of those worries about those trees or limbs coming down, or maybe you already got rid of a tree, but there's that ugly stump. Well, you can do stump grinding too.
Yep.
So call up Clearwater's Property Management today, 430-0376. That's 430-0376. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
I like what I like, and I do what I want.
If what you like is getting the highest payouts, getting the most free play, and finding more of your favorite games all on a spacious upscale gaming floor, then Wind Creek Atmore is your kind of fabulous. No matter what fabulous means to you, you'll find it here. Wind Creek Atmore. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, this is Ashley, the owner of Pest Pro Services. Tired of those pesky mosquitoes ruining your outdoor fun? Say goodbye to bites and hello to comfort. Our expert mosquito treatments protect your home and your yard, letting you enjoy every moment. Our treatments are effective, safe, pet, and family friendly. Let us help take back your yard. Call us now to book your appointment at 265-9990 or visit us on the web at ppsriverregion.com. Pest Pro Services. When you want to know, call a pro.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for waterproof carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
Prattville Carpet is a family-owned flooring store that prides itself on personal service, quality products, and guaranteed installation. From beautiful hardwood floors to luxurious smart strand carpet, Prattville Carpet has you covered. Call, come by, or online at prattvillecarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
The River Region's News Talk station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Chris. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, guys.
I was listening to a little bit on and off of the deal with Stephen Reed yesterday, AUM,
Town Hall, yeah.
and it always kept kind of creeping back about this occupational tax to me. Did you watch it?
Oh, I watched the entire thing. Yeah. The one of the main thrust is we need an occupational tax, and the state won't let us when every other town has it. And we need the state to essentially get off our back while also helping us more, especially things like the permitless carry. And then there was another subset of the crowd that was more focused on why are these kids killing each other and how can we intervene with these kids. I think the problem most folks are talking about is the latter, is like, why are these kids killing each other at these rates? Mm-hmm. And you more focus on that. I think there are good conversations around if you commit a violent crime with a gun, do you lose your right then? Like you lose other rights when you commit a heinous crime. That's probably a good idea the state legislature should look at. But you're right. They focus, especially that town hall, on occupational tax and permitless carry.
I think it's just to come back up every chance it gets.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, like someone pointed out, we've got the money budgeted. Yep. We're not even using it because we have nobody who wants to come become a police officer. And you can give raises all day, but I mean, it's ultimately about the leadership. He's the leader of the city. He gets to choose the the chief of police. So I just, it's all on him, man.
Well, did you listen mostly? Because as I watched it, he seemed a little more relaxed and ready to just talk about anything last night.
Okay. And the reason why is because they pre-screened question.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's
not, let's admit that's not unique with a setting like that. I've done that for Grimes, and everybody writes down your question, and you start looking at them, and your job as the moderator goes, what's the best question here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I had a really good one. He didn't want, I mean, I'm sure they didn't want to accept that one.
I don't even want to know.
Oh, it'd be a great one we could talk about, but anyway. It's about $87 million of ARPA money. That's what it's about.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
86. I'm sorry, 86.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're getting another $17 million for buses, electric buses who have failed all over the country, by the way.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
We're just happy about anybody, just if you're Republican, Democrat, forget it. If I say I get you $17 million to help this community out, would you think electric buses?
That wouldn't be my first.
That wouldn't be my first choice.
What about electric scooters?
Those ended up. A friend of mine told me they found one of those bird scooters in Selma.
Oh, they find them all over, man. And then they kind of change the area you could rent them and ride them in. And
well, it's a common thing all over the world in cities at this point. But I appreciate it, Chris.
Hey, real quick, ask them one thing. Ann Street. I don't know if you've been out to Ann Street.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a war zone. It's the old Wendy's, and then across from the Mrs. Winters, or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's burned down. Guys, it looks like a third world country.
Yeah, right there off the interstate.
I mean, something's got to give on that. So if you'd ask him, that'd be great.
We'll do it, man.
Appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. I love that these folks are a sponsor, and I honestly, Eddie, I'm like, hey, you want to go to breakfast on Friday morning?
I'd love to. I just hate that we're talking about them and they're not right here in front of me.
I know, those cheese grits.
It's really hurting my feelings a little bit.
And I want to keep trying like different things there, especially with the breakfast. But of course, in the evening time, they've got a great atmosphere, live entertainment, open bar, and fantastic food. And they are now going back to original recipes, and really is a true institution, a true destination.
Oh, definitely in Millbrook.
You need to stop by there, Main Street in Millbrook. And if you're in Montgomery, it's right off the interstate.
First Millbrook
Pretty
exit.
easy.
Just follow it straight. You'll smell it before you get there, and then you'll kind of see it on your left, man. Beautiful, beautiful place.
So whether you're looking for a hearty breakfast, like a good Southern breakfast, or you're looking for some just great barbecue and, great atmosphere too, that's Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. We really only have like a minute left here. So let's go to David. Hey, David.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. My wife spent 35 years in the medical field, used to travel for several years. And when she moved to Montgomery, one night at Baptist South, they were talking during a lull moment at work, and her coworkers asked her, said, "Where's the most dangerous place you've ever worked at?" She goes, "Here."
I hear that a lot.
And she's worked in major cities all over the country. So she was like, they had one time, the company I used to work for, a couple of our employees were working at Baptist South one day. 2 families got into it, had a gunfight somewhere. They end up at the ER. The 2 families show up at the ER, middle of the day, and get in a fight in the ER, go outside into the parking lot, get their guns out of the cars, and start shooting at each other in Baptist South parking lot in the middle of the day. That was about 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and our employees got caught in the crossfire. So I mean, that's Montgomery.
Well,
in a
and
nutshell, right there.
And it just makes me wonder: who are the adults encouraging this? Because it ain't just these kids. And it's not just kids shooting
the adults
people.
are
Who
as bad
the
as the
ones?
kids.
And who are
Yeah.
they? And they need to be
there
found
you go.
out and embarrassed publicly and criminally charged if they're up to stuff.
Well, a lot of times they'll put the kids out there. That's their soldiers.
Yep.
The kids
Sure,
are going to do a few weeks
absolutely.
in jail at most, and the adults get to still run the
Yeah.
streets. Yeah.
Yeah, if you remember the shooting that happened at Oak Park or whatever it was there on across from Jackson Hospital about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yep.
The family that got shot up sent a 13-year-old with a gun into a club to shoot the family who had shot at them at Oak Park. So, yeah, that's how they operate.
Well,
mentality.
I appreciate the call, David. Got to run.
Thank you, David. See you, bro.
Duke, I am sorry I'm out of time. You can hold on. We're going to have Counselor Szymanski here at the top of
Szymanski's
the
here.
hour break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they can help you men out. It's
Mhm.
right there in the name. And as a man, you should, especially if you're getting into your 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Maybe even in your 20s, start a good habit early. You should every year get a check for your testosterone.
Definitely.
And a PSA score. And that's what they can do there for you at Montgomery Men's Health. And it could be you have a generalized problem from, say, low T, or maybe something like ED. That's
Could be.
no fun.
Right.
It certainly is.
But you
is
still
no
want to
fun.
know, and there's a way to fix it.
Right. Montgomery Men's Health.
That's exactly right.
The providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low-T treatments there that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and usually even notice an increased libido.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm. So y'all call up Montgomery Men's Health today. That's 440-3663. 440-3663, or go to montgomerymenshealth.com to book your appointment today. I'm now laughing at myself. What the heck was that sound I just made? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just getting my shoes shined under the table here. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The calls continue for President Biden to exit the president's race. Movie star and lifelong Democrat George Clooney is adding his voice to the growing number of people saying Joe Biden needs to step aside. Clooney says in a New York Times opinion piece that he loves Biden, but the party would lose the presidential race as well as any control in Congress with him as the nominee. The return of searing heat in the Houston area has deepened the misery for people still without power after Hurricane Beryl. The storm left residents in search of places to cool off as the extended outages strained one of the nation's largest cities. More than 1.7 million homes and businesses in Texas lacking electricity. On Wall Street, the Dow had 195 points and the Nasdaq is adding 166. This is SRN News.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Feeling a bit better out there today? Yes, it is. The humidity's come down just a notch. Mostly sunny, still hot, high 92 to 94, but the heat index may actually fall short of 100 today. That would be good. And the rain chances, while not zero, are certainly minuscule today. Our low temperature tonight, 72. Tomorrow, the rain chances still small. Same thing on Friday, but, not zero. I've got us around the mid-90s for a high tomorrow. Then upper 90s begin Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early next week. And over the weekend, a few random storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. A state lawmaker from Lowndes County has been arrested on 2 felony charges. 50-year-old State Representative Kelvin Lawrence is charged with forgery and possession of a forged instrument. The indictment alleges that Lawrence falsely made, completed, or altered a builder's license with the intent to defraud. A business plans to install computerized vending machines to sell ammunition at grocery stores in Alabama and 2 other states. American Rounds machines use a driver's license scanner and facial recognition software to verify the purchaser's age and ID. One-stop shopping for bullets and bread. A popular Montgomery area veterinarian is being mourned after an accident took his life. Partners for Pets on Tuesday confirmed the passing of Dr. Tom Harbin. Partners for Pets stated Dr. Harbin's death was related to a 4th of July scuba diving accident, but no further details were released. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Join us tomorrow from 11:30 to 12:30 at Riverside Chevrolet on 231 in Wetumpka as we are collecting items for our Operation Help and Hope benefiting new cancer patients via the Cancer Wellness Foundation of Central Alabama. Drop off your donation of new in packaging Chemo Comfort Care Bag items such as hard candy, fuzzy socks, puzzle books, lip balm, and Boost nutritional drinks.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark. Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader's still here, and you're still feeling patriotic, it looks like.
Yeah, and it's hot. This is a thin shirt, so
Yeah,
boy
it
can be a little
it's
cool.
hot. That's
Yeah.
why I've been wearing T-shirts lately. And, of course, as promised, we have Andrew Szymanski in the studio. Counselor Szymanski, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
Doing all right. So many things to talk about.
So many things.
The conversation just naturally flowed off air.
Yeah.
But I want to begin with this this veto that happened about Carter Hill Road.
Sure.
Like, honestly, I don't really understand the situation. So
Okay.
lay out, if you could, what happened.
Yeah, so this is something that first came in front of the council back earlier this year. This idea of a multifamily development that was interested in going across the street from Alabama State University. The development was going to primarily focus on opportunities for student housing for the university. It was a great project in my eyes, $3.8 million project that was going to put a lot of units right there, right on the corner facing Carter Hill Road, which is really more of a thoroughfare type street. You've got gas stations on Carter Hill. It goes down towards the Mulberry shopping area. It's got the Decatur Street shopping area on the other side. The tennis courts were right next door to it. So it was zoned for office, and these people were coming before us for a rezoning. And there'd been a couple of things they had to do early on this year that they kind of got figured out. And then about 3 weeks ago, we voted on that rezoning, and the rezoning passed 7-2 at the time. And there was a veto by the mayor for that. When the mayor vetoes something, you'll see in the agendas, he actually has to describe reasons why.
Oh, okay.
The 3 reasons that were given off the top of my head, let's see, it was concerns about infrastructure, needed road infrastructure improvements to accommodate the increased traffic. 2 was that it didn't fit within plans that they had for creating more a corridor concept that they said that they were working on. And then the 3rd was that feedback from the neighborhood was that it was not wanted. So came to the vote last meeting and heard the comments from the people. We had a handful of people get up and speak, and then also comments from the mayor. He and I had a bit of a conversation during the meeting, and then still decided that the size of the investment, the opportunity, the quality of the investment, one of the things I think that was really important, and for those of you who have not been to, or have been to, sorry, and seen things like in Auburn and Tuscaloosa, when I was at University of Georgia, we had these in Athens, these kind of like single apartments on the bottom with 2 townhomes on top of it. Very common, right? So that was kind of what they were going with, a higher rent value and all that.
Bring up some value.
And so I just thought, what, and I heard the concerns of the neighborhood. I'm not immune, and I'm not deaf to some of the worries that people had, but at the end of the day, these are the types of projects that I think we need to take chances on. These are the risks that we have to take, and especially right now when we know Alabama State and Huntington both have housing needs,
and growing,
to put it right across the street. I heard from Garden District and I heard from Cloverdale that rather than having students spread out in rental homes all across neighborhoods, that this idea of more density would be welcomed. And so with considering all the facts, decided to make a motion to override the veto, and that override vote did not carry. So the veto was sustained, and it kills the project. And somebody asked, is that the end of it? And the answer is, yeah. I mean, at least at the council level. So.
And that's $3-something million. It's not
$3.8 million.
Units were that?
I think it was like either 46 or 48 units. And I mean, what I was hearing was, rent rates in the, 12 to 1,800 to 2,200, depending on the number of rooms that it was. I mean, I think it was going to be primarily double occupancy, but then that some were going to be potentially as big as 3 or 4. And we don't have a lot of that, and we haven't built a lot of that in this area. And so, of course, obviously, I was very invested in this idea because it's right in in my district, right on the border of my district, and again, to right across the street from Alabama State University, which has been expanding and growing.
Yeah, they are growing.
Has done some stabilizing. I know that there were some things that happened before that before I was on council years and years ago that now seem to have been stabilized, and we need to be able to supporting that, because when kids have a good experience while in college in our city, it makes them more inclined to stay, and high quality housing is definitely a part of that.
Well, I know used to have some rental properties right around ASU, and I couldn't never figure out why I couldn't get a lot of students to come in. And finally, one of the neighbors told me that they passed an ordinance years and years ago. If you had more than 2 people with different last names, they could not live in that house together.
Huh.
And that way it would limit students, because like you're saying, you'd have 3-4 students in a house. I did not know that when I bought that property, and I was in violation of that law for quite a while because I didn't know. I had no idea. And when I sold it, I made the new person aware of it, and she couldn't believe it either. But that shows there is a struggle for student housing.
Oh yeah,
and the neighborhood knows it, and kind of way they got around it was making it so it's less welcome.
And what was that second concern? They want to make it a corridor? What does that mean?
Yeah, so they had said that they are working on some idea of overall improvements in planning using other city land. I've not seen this, but it was just part of the veto, is that they're trying to make improvements to the area to bring more stuff in, that the housing concept just didn't fit right on that piece of property in their plan. So,
okay.
So yeah, so I mean, and look, I live across the street from a quadplex that is students and traveling nurses, and I think that there has been fears in some cities that have kind of gotten past that. Now you see them everywhere. It's actually a sign of health and vitality for the neighborhood. Growth. It is a change, and I get that. And I heard the concerns of the neighbors, but this was too good of a project, and I think could have been a really good shining example of why taking that risk could have paid off.
Well, I wish it worked out.
Yeah,
me too. That was a good one.
And then another thing you mentioned off air as you were walking in, that you did the brown bag bus yesterday.
Yeah, that was a really awesome experience. I'm providing some funds to the YMCA. It's a YMCA program, and wanted to see firsthand what that kind of looked like. The YMCA gets out 5 days a week every afternoon and travels around to different neighborhoods and apartment complexes in our city, and kids can get onto the bus and come have a free meal.
That's great.
It's interesting time wise, because it's really more about, like, they start at 2:30 and it goes till about 5 o'clock, because they're trying to get kids right after school too.
Yeah, that's kind of probably a good thing.
Potentially be a second meal as well. Man, I will tell you this though, there are some places in this city that we really have to do a better job, whether that be some of the roads we drove on, just some of the quality of the apartment complexes, and I think there's we've heard Councilor Mitchell's been talking about this for a long time, and I support their efforts of trying to force the hands of these kind of more slumlord like apartment complexes, because there was somewhere, I mean, I was on my 311 app on my phone, and I'm out there, like, while we're riding around on the bus, like, pumping stuff in, because we just got to do a better job, and people that are it doesn't help when people are in a challenging situation to then, like, be living somewhere where people care so little about the property that they're on.
Well, and I remember, like, the first or second council meeting where a lot of folks showed up because of the shootings and crime. There was one gentleman, probably looked in his 30s to me, who he was not talking about crime, and he was like, I've got this problem with my landlord and apartment, and you think, oh, come on, man, don't distract. You see the photos he brings, like the sludge backing up into the top, like, it is a third world country.
A lot of places are.
And that we can't stand for that.
No, and that's that, again, like, that's where it's super important, yes, of course, to keep talking about public safety and wanting to make sure that, but there are other aspects of governing a city that we are responsible for, and so just to be out there, and it's something that is just as important as making sure that we are requiring, as I said, it's oftentimes out-of-state investors, these companies that buy these things. We're actually looking at some ordinance opportunities and to try and regulate some of that. We've seen in other states where they require places to have local property managers actually on hand.
Good idea.
And those types of things. So we're looking at that right now. Had a really good meeting about that not so long ago. And back to the housing part too. Our housing gap is really in the was about $35,000 to $85,000 single income range, right? So these are not people that are low income. What we're missing is housing for people that are working and making, this is our teachers, this is your servers and your favorite bartenders, these are your nurses and your dental techs and all that. That is the housing market that we have to address, whether that be through downtown density or these other types of projects that are popping up. But, we keep talking about wanting to bring more taxpayers and more residents to the city. That's a huge market, that post-college, first-time, career people that we need to have places for.
And again, folks, we're talking to Counselor Andrew Szymanski. If you have a question or comment, just want to jump in on the conversation, 272-9228. Real quick, this part of the program brought to you by All Pro Heating, Air, and Electrical.
I bet their phone has been blowing up, Joey.
Well, because we've been telling folks, if you have not gotten just a basic checkup of the AC system, you need to.
You dang sure do.
You saw what I went through that one summer. 2 weeks without
I brought
AC.
you an AC.
In July. Yeah, and it was like, I don't know how people lived in this state before air conditioning.
Right.
And I was watching my brother's dog, and I'm like, this poor 80-pound lab is about to
With
have
a
a
big
heat
coat
stroke
on.
on.
Yeah.
Me. And I'm like, you don't even need to be in that situation. Get All Pro out there to check on that unit of yours, or maybe realize it's time to install a brand new unit.
Yep.
Of course, they can handle that for you as well. And they also provide great service installing brand new Generac generators.
That's a great idea.
So storms rolling through, of course, the power can be going out, and especially if you have things like medical devices, other very crucial things that need to stay on, you need to get yourself a generator, and All Pro has your back in that regard. So check them out today. You can always go to allproheatingair.com or give them a call at 301-1961. That's 301-1961, and be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie and the fellows on the radio sent you. And one thing, I think this all does go together. This is from, I guess, 10,000 feet.
Sure.
Especially the more I look at the crime issue and start thinking about it, I started looking into more of the crime intervention stuff around the country, what's worked, what's not, is the basic concept to me is we have to be incredibly harsh on the people who just intransigently don't want to change.
Sure.
And that, I think, goes more to adults. Sometimes it's not just kids who are doing this. It'll be some juveniles, but you then create space for people who want to do right. And that goes into what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So if somebody's trying to do right, not get caught up in that, say, gang lifestyle, there's all sorts of ways that pull them back down. And so while we're once being incredibly harsh on folks who really are causing the problem while providing basic opportunities to folks, that seems to be the formula.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there's just so many aspects that get brought into this that make providing outlets and options for people that don't want to, be bad actors, but are in really challenging situations where they don't know what else, can't connect with anything other than that, is why, whether it's through, we've talked about whether or not these kind of more social justice things, why all of this can live in the same ecosystem together and not just be one only kind of laser focus on like number of officers and following through on laws that are on the books, but also having robust after school programs, making sure kids are fed, making sure that people that just want to live in an apartment don't have to walk through raw sewage. I mean, come on, imagine how angry you would start out every single day, just feeling helpless, and all of that plays in together.
It is, and it's awful because so many people, and I run into them all the time, they're caught in that situation. They still got to pay their rent. They still got to live somewhere, and a lot of times they can't afford to move. They feel incredibly trapped, and they don't feel like anybody is holding their landlord accountable.
Yeah.
I mean, we and you've seen it. You see it all over. And I think a big thing, like you brought up, local property management would really help, because then you have a contact.
And then you have a local person who's liable for
Yes.
for that as well.
Yes.
I mean, and when I was running and coming in here, we were sometimes talking about how, like, well, should you be talking about small business? Should you be talking about pedestrian infrastructure? It was asked last night at the mayor's town hall. I saw that someone was asking, well, it's great that you have all these community centers, but like for kids that can't drive themselves, how are they supposed to get there? It's not safe to walk through the city. Something as simple as that.
Yep.
Not being able to walk to school, not being able to walk safely to an area where they can have productive outlets, not being able to walk to a ball field or a basketball court, something like that. It can all work together, and the places that we all talk about, I say we, like the broader Montgomery, when they talk about, oh, how great it is in Greenville or how great it is in Huntsville and all that, is cities that are aggressively looking for a very whole approach. If I say holistic, it sounds a little hippie, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was the pilot program, or I guess we've got the grant now for the electric buses. I think Montgomery, when I was young, we used to have to ride the city bus. That's how we got around. But that's how we got around the city.
Mm-hmm.
With no bus system, you are so trapped in that one neighborhood. And like you said, there's a community center that's a mile and a half away. It's 117 degrees outside. But I'll go to the corner, I'll catch the bus.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we had that infrastructure here, but I really think we do. I'm not so crazy about the electric buses, but I'll take the good with the bad. If it's going to help us get a public transportation system, an actual operating one, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, trust me, anytime the federal government wants to give us money, we'll then invest it into something specific. I mean, this is, again, talking about effective cities, this is what you do. You look at the administration in Washington and the programs that their Department of Transportation, Justice, Commerce, all of these things have, and then you go find things that you think would at least enhance areas of your city. Is it always going to be perfect? No. But that is just another like source of opportunity for us to help connect our city and make people able to get where they need to go.
No, but one thought, and maybe this is just Joey's cynical self.
Sure.
But I'd love to take your temperature on this thought, is that I think, as we said in the first hour, every time I go to a city council meeting or I was watching the town hall from the comfort of my home, there are moments where, everybody starts laughing, and like, I don't often go to these public hearings where there's sometimes tension, but there isn't true animus out there. And so to me, that suggests like, okay, the people in the city generally were good, hospitable folks, all the stereotypes about the South, maybe the bad ones too. But there's moments where I'm like, if all these folks seem earnest and most people are that way, why the problem so strong, so like systemic? And it makes me wonder, are there points in this city, and maybe it's not just government, it could be other parts. It seems like there is a deep corruption in this city. And I don't know if I mean like, oh, somebody's doing some dirty financial deal. I mean like corruption of the heart. Like they're just some so-called leaders sometimes in certain areas that aren't actually leading. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. It's just my sense of like, how can you have this wonderful kind of hospitable environment, and even when people are arguing, they kind of still want to get along, and yet the problems still persist the way they do?
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing that is kind of a catalyst for that is change, right? And change is a very, very, well, I mean, this goes back to that, development project, is that was going to fundamentally change the entranceway to a neighborhood. And that is, for some people, that fear and that being scared of that, being resistant to that, creates kind of this animosity and this anger and frustration and whatnot. Change can be a lot of different things, whether it's the programs that we have or where we're investing our money. And I think right now we're in a moment where there are a lot of solutions and there's a lot of ideas and concepts. And when the solution that I think is best is not pushed forward or isn't getting the traction, I think that creates some of that animus and animosity. It's also communication. I mean, I'm just going to say it. We have leaders in this city that need to talk. Like I've been on the city council for 9 months. I am trying to, whether it be coming to see you guys, doing, whether it's TV or through social medias or through our listening tours, through Coffee with the Counselor, which I'm doing this Friday, talking and giving people an outlet to communicate with their leaders, but then also making sure our leaders are talking to each other, right? And being full in communication and transparent and understanding so that we're executing all in the same direction. And again, I think one of the things that we look at cities that we are envious of, one of the things we are envious of is how all components, right, whether it be school board, county commission, city council, neighborhood associations, are all generally stepping to the same beat of the drum, you know, and when that cuts off, right, it just strays. It kind of just like keeps spreading out, and then the distance that it creates can create real problems and real frustrations. And I understand that. And I'm not saying that there's a specific thing to point to. It's just we have to communicate better. I've been in meetings where I'm just like, if only we talked more. If only we didn't wait till Tuesday to have these conversations.
Right. And it goes to all levels of government. And
sure.
And I think also, like, I think 200 something people were watching online. How many people, I guess, were in the room? It was a few hundred, right?
I think so. Yeah. I got done with Brown Bag Bus and then did the same thing as you, watched it from the Facebook
But it
Live.
looked like a pretty good turnout, but we're a city of just shy 200,000.
Yeah.
And it's just, part of me is like, man, how many folks none of this is on their radar who live here.
A lot.
And I'm not saying them necessarily going to a town hall solves any sort of issue, but you got to wonder, who are the folks that aren't even part of the conversation who are causing problems? That's what I wonder about.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you get. I mean, we are people. I think sometimes it's drilled down to where we're such a small. People believe we're 200,000 people.
Well, a lot of
that
us
is
grew
a
up here,
big size,
and it's hard to imagine that we're 200-something thousand people.
Yeah.
I remember you could literally ride your bicycle from Highland Gardens to Normandale Mall. I mean, everything seemed so tight. But now, as an adult, holy cow, the way the city has grown, population and just geographically.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that 60,000 people that don't live in Montgomery come to our city every day to go to work. 60,000 people, like that's a huge number of folks, and that's just going to keep growing as we keep getting the industrial development that we're seeing out in Hope Hall, and people, the expansion of places like Pike Road and Prattville and Wetumpka. That's natural, right? So yeah, if you think about it, 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon, there's probably, with tourists and everything, I mean, there's 325,000 people in this city. That's big.
It's a big city.
That's a big lift
for this Montgomery. Yes,
and that is change. And I get the sense that some of the frustrations people have, and is this kind of push between, are we really building a city that's only really good for people today? When should we start talking about how we build a city so that in 10 years we're not having this conversation again about some other topic that's critical to enjoyment of day-to-day life? That type of planning and investment, making sure we have the housing needs, the hospital needs, the public safety needs, all of that type of stuff. The reason why we did a long-range 2040 plan was to help guide us. And as I said right when I started running and if only the last page of that says, hey, and if the federal government happens to hand you an $86 million check, this is probably where you should start your investment.
Yes.
And that we have to get better about realizing that we have a playbook and we have to use it.
Well, otherwise you're just playing whack-a-mole.
Sure.
And we do have to hit a break. And when we come back, I might, just as a reminder, because I forget things.
Yeah.
Where did the $86 million go? And then I do want to address the public safety crime issues, and just because a lot's happened since we talked.
Yeah.
So y'all stay tuned, folks. More news and views after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hey folks, thank you for making CTE Outdoor Power a preferred dealer and Hustler one of the most popular riding mowers. Recently, I met a couple from Evergreen who discovered us because friends recommended both CTE and Hustler. They heard our team of friendly, helpful professionals would guide them to the Hustler model that's the best fit for them, and that because we support all the products we sell, we take the hassle out of future needed parts and service. They liked Hustler because of the highest quality and warranty, and that we partner with Hustler to offer 0% interest financing. Now, if you haven't discovered Hustler and CTE yet, now is the perfect time, because this month when you mention this ad, we'll pay the sales tax when you purchase any new riding mower. Folks, can you get all that anywhere else? CTE Outdoor Power, I-85 at Perry Hill Road, and CTEOutdoorPower.com.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From a little fender bender to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For over 35 years, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Feeling a bit better out there today? Yes, it is. The humidity's come down just a notch. Mostly sunny, still hot, high 92 to 94, but the heat index may actually fall short of 100 today. That would be good. And the rain chances, while not zero, are certainly minuscule today. Our low temperature tonight, 72. Tomorrow, the rain chances still small. Same thing on Friday, but, not zero. I've got us around the mid-90s for a high tomorrow. Then upper 90s begin Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early next week. And over the weekend, a few random storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. Soon we'll be moving to a brand new location in Montgomery. During our big moving sale, get a great deal on a Kubota with 0% APR up to 84 months with approved credit. Now through September 30th, 2024. See Capital Tractor in Montgomery or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, where we left off, again, Counselor Szymanski here in the studio with Eddie and I. Where did the $86 million go? Just to remind myself and the folks out there listening, this was the ARPA funds that came out from the Fed.
Yeah. So, and mind you, I was not there for the majority of the negotiations, so I will do my best to recap some of the major things. The county and the city were both offered funds. Every city and county in the country was. Okay. So when you put the two together, it was about $85 million. Major investment into mental health, supporting the CareStar and some other initiatives there. Big investment, multi-millions of dollars into the homelessness project that they've got right now. And actually, probably in the next couple of weeks, you'll see an announcement, and I think it was teased last night, that the hub, there's been this renovation and revitalization of the old WSFA headquarters that is now going to be the hub for a bunch of nonprofits that had each been doing different aspects of addressing the homelessness issue, now putting them under one roof, giving them offices, giving people access to multiple services. This is something we see very commonly all over the country. And so that was a big investment. There was investment into body cams, updating the body cams for police and sheriff's officers. There was And I'm trying to forget some of these things, but there's some other like some infrastructure stuff. Oh, the big one was community centers. So a bunch of the community centers.
Good.
At the last meeting, you saw an update from the firm that's been kind of the engineering firm that's been kind of overseeing the projects. They laid them out. They're coming online in the next year to 2 years. I'm really excited because I have the Therapeutic Recreation Center in my district, and that's our most used community center. And while it is a great place and people are loving it, it's going to be so much better.
Good.
And it's going to be awesome. New fire stations. I'm also getting a new fire station in District 7. It's great when you get to walk in and like all these pre-planned things come online while you're there. So you get to see some real opportunity and growth happening. So on Court Street, station number 10. It was part of this, and then there's just some other projects that the city and the county kind of negotiated. Some of the this money for violence intervention programs was part of that. Keeping in mind that there are 4 main buckets that you could use that money for, according to the federal guidelines. I do know too. We wrote some pretty sizable. I want to say maybe $5 million from the county and the city to the hospital systems to help with kind of the aftershock of COVID and some of the revenue loss and just some more complicated, like, covering what they had to do to outfit themselves to deal with the actual pandemic itself. So that broke down, and then there was a basically, like, after all that got kind of portioned out, and mind you, all of that money has to be obligated by the end of this year and spent by the end of 2026. Use or lose, like so many federal grants are. And then each counselor and commissioner, I don't know about how much they got on the commission side, but we got about $275,000 that each counselor got to use for projects in their district. Mine is looking at the space where Floyd School used to be, and the building's still there, but we're looking at abating the building and then potentially creating like a really amazing outdoor space. We don't have very many large parks in my district, so looking at that. I'm looking at the Fairview Avenue corridor, which is trying to do some street and sidewalk improvements to make it more pedestrian friendly for the residents, but really the critical partner there is Huntington College, whose school is growing. I actually got to meet the new president, who I've known for many years, and very excited that Dr. Anthony Lee is now the head of Huntington College. And he is, and I have been talking about just how much movement his students have all throughout that area. So we want to make that safer. And then the final thing is connecting the Cloverdale neighborhood in a better way to the Mulberry shopping district, because it's really kind of an ugly exchange to try and walk from Cloverdale over to Mulberry. So trying to look at that. So anyway, a lot of opportunity for improvement. Now, this was mostly negotiated before my time on the council. And if you look at other cities, I think one thing that was really important, this idea of joining city and county together to try and leverage this into some more things. And actually, I remember, obviously, the Trails projects got $5 million as well. So River Region Trails is very excited about that. So a lot of breakdown on that money, and it was a big pot. And based on where, the aftershock from that is where we're gonna be is hopefully in a much better position place with some good things.
Well, and as you got talking about your district, I was recently met somebody for a beer, and that whole word, the Free Dino's, all that is.
Wait, you went out for a beer?
Yeah, I did.
Out for a beer.
I actually went out for a beer.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of left going, well, that was sad. But anyway, I'm being slightly serious.
Yeah.
I look at that whole area, and I'm like, from Chuck's and 1048, and then whatever is happening with those buildings there, is there, I know it's maybe not the government, but is there a developer? What the heck's going on?
No, yes, very much so. And actually a huge win for District 7 and really all of Montgomery. Back about March-ish time, we passed, and this is one of the only ones that's been passed underneath the current administration's leadership, is a resolution that, so we have a developer that's come to town. That developer is the same people that we know did the Summit in Birmingham, did the Pizzett's Food Hall and offices and residents in Birmingham. These people are legit. One of their partners has very deep ties to the city of Montgomery, has been trying to come back and do projects here. They have purchased both sides, the Woodley side and the Fairview side. Yep. They have partnered up with the Chuck's ownership team and another more silent partner. So it's a 3-headed monster that's doing the work there. We've actually are providing them $500,000 in infrastructure reimbursement. So they're looking at pipes, power lines, and sidewalks. And so they're kind of like incentive for buying the property and developing the properties. They get some kickbacks for improving our pathways and our roads and
That's
our
awesome. That's a good
infrastructure,
investment,
which
though.
is huge and
Yep.
a really,
Really good
smart
investment.
way to do it, right, is to do that kind of reimbursement. So they have a lot of exciting things that are going to be coming online. They didn't want to do too much investing into the space until they actually owned it and had the incentive package done.
Makes sense.
So I've seen some of the early drawings. Trust me, if you live in Cloverdale, all of the rumors about what restaurants, I've heard about 70 different things that people think are coming there. And
Texas Roadhouse, I heard they're going to be right there.
Actually, yeah. It's going to be a 3-story Texas Roadhouse with rooftop grills.
Yeah, but of course.
And a margarita bar, of course. So no, but I mean, that's so that is really big. Across the street as well, the Capri Theater and their wonderful association is building a new marquee. Big shout out to the state government, who also has some skin in that game, helping to preserve a historic space and a historic theater. So no, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, that area is going to be completely activated. And that's why I chose kind of Fairview as a place to try and run some more infrastructure improvements down as well with my ARPA funds.
Yeah, I was just over there, and I'm like, I used to live on Ponce de Leon. I used to live at the 48 Midtown Apartments. Like, I know the area pretty well, and have seen some of the changes.
Just
and
a ton of potential.
So I love that answer. I love that's the news. That's awesome.
No, it's great.
Me too, because I love Texas Roadhouse.
But I think as we started, like, all this stuff is great and very necessary.
Sure.
But, and I think somebody made this point at the town hall last night, if you don't have basic sense of safety, it's not just like, oh, let's do the odds, like the stat. It's like, no, if people don't feel safe, they don't feel safe.
Sure.
True.
And so what can be done in the near term? Like, I'm a little stuck on this because I hear, well, $6 million for the crime intervention. I hear all this idea. We just raised police salaries, benefit packages, these things. But like, what can be done tomorrow?
Well, I'll tell you this, keeping the conversation open, and we should all be very grateful for the work that Acting Chief John Hall has done in working with Sheriff Cunningham, and Hal Taylor over at Aaliyah, and the mayor and the county commissioners and all those people that kind of realize that at least by partnering in a better way and keeping that kind of planning and discussion about how they can address this issue. One thing that I've noticed has made an impact is that because we have more active patrolling in areas of the city with the sheriff, I've seen more state troopers out on the road, more people getting pulled over. I've also seen more MPD cars traveling our streets than I've ever seen. It just, again, it's a feeling and a perception. And if that's what I'm feeling, I'm hoping people that are not great actors are seeing that and feeling that as well. So there's going to be discussion about us continuing how we fund. The sheriff's department's doing that with a lot of overtime. How we keep funding that and making sure that keeps going forward, which I think is a great idea for us as a force multiplier. And so that has to keep happening for sure. The other thing that has to keep happening is that as crazy as, and trust me, people on the air that have called in before that say, like, how can you talk about this with the crime issue, is that there are other cities that have crime and people are still investing in them. And so we still have to make sure that we are pushing ourselves to try and bring in developments and investments and businesses, whether they're big, small, mega, tiny, to help with this kind of landscape to make sure that we have real money coming into this city. It is oftentimes referenced, the difference between a Huntsville and a Birmingham or Mobile, where their occupancy taxes are bringing in an additional $60 to $100 million. We don't have that. Okay. So we don't have that. It's the way it is. So we have to find other ways to generate that. We need to start really aggressively cleaning up the gateways into Montgomery, Ann Street, Southern Boulevard, Fairview Avenue. All of these things are opportunities to, goodness, this summer, driving to Birmingham on a Sunday is like the worst thing in the world because there's so many cars traveling on our interstates going down to our beaches this summer. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm like this much of a sycophant, but like it's hard not to look at them and see all the dollars potential that get off at Prattville, right? Or they go down to Greenville and they're spending their money at their gas stations, their fast food restaurants, they're eating Bates House of Turkey in Greenville and not up here. Those things are just as important for building a response to some of the stuff, because just like we've said before, you take areas that are dilapidated, blighted, and all that stuff, and you clean them up, you put businesses in them, you park cars out front, and you make them active, and bad actors tend to move away. Are we going to stop incidents of crime overnight? No, we know that this is not the reality. Are we going to stop instances of crime long term? Probably not. We are working to lessen them and build a whole community that people want to live in, be good participants that they want to work in. And most importantly is one that they feel safe in. And so I'm hoping that all of this conversation, and I'm very excited about this, the new acting police or interim police chief that's come to the table. We're starting with us, Gray Boys, who I've heard nothing but wonderful things about. Haven't had a chance to meet yet, but starting next week, that there are really some big changes that are going to be coming. Seeing Batiste, the gentleman from Mobile that's going to be coming up and consulting, and then the other, the new Inspector General comes experience with the FBI, law enforcement. There was a great question about outsourcing and bringing in new ideas and new thoughts. You know how much I am into finding new creative solutions. And so just having this kind of task force, I hope will yield the noticeable changes that we want to see, and hopefully faster than even we may have expected them.
On so many questions here that keep popping up in my mind, like how can the state legislature help you there? I mean, there's a lot of different things.
All right, we can do a special session on that potentially.
Well, actually, how much time do you have?
I got time.
Because we've got to talk to Michael Cohen here in a second. We got calls flowing in. If you can go into the next hour, Matt, let's keep doing
let's do it.
So how about this? Let's hit a break. First, this entire second hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon can help you, whether you're looking to purchase a home, and especially if you hadn't been through that process yet. These are great local folks you can trust. They'll walk with you, work with you from pre-approval all the way to closing.
That's right.
And by the way, whether it's a purchase or a refinance, don't be making your own personal economic decisions based on like all the national scary headlines.
No.
You have to sit down with folks and actually figure out what's best for you at this moment. And Kim and Madeline can help you do exactly that, especially if you are under, say, a mountain of credit card debt. 8%, 9% on a mortgage is a lot better than 29% on a credit card. And maybe you don't have an issue really, but you want to reset your financial footing. They can do that with a refinance deal as well. So call them today. That number, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim and Madeline proved that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Your moment has arrived. It's time to shed the normal day-to-day version of yourself and let your most fabulous self loose. Make your way to Wind Creek Atmore, because whatever your idea of fabulous is, this is where you'll find it. Wind Creek Atmore. It's your kind of fabulous. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Summertime is a fun time at the Kickback Ranch and Event Center. Come and enjoy all the amenities: swimming, water slide, fishing, bike rides, hike our Trail of Ribbons, sign a loved one's name who has fought or is fighting cancer. We host family reunions, church retreats, birthday parties, corporate events, weddings, and more. We have cabins, cottages, tents, and an RV park. Come for the day or spend the weekend. It's a short drive down US 331 south of Montgomery. It's the Kickback Ranch and Event Center. Come join us. Kickbackranch.net.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
You sound great. You sound happy today.
I am. It's Wednesday.
There you go.
The week's half over.
That's exactly right.
Now let's remind
And
folks.
another day for Eddie to be on.
I tried to be off today, but I knew we had a big guest coming in, so I came on in. I'm just a company man. What can I say?
No, just keep saying more until you say something I can make fun of you for. Just keep going, big guy. No, but let's remind folks, y'all still have the Summer of Smart going on there at Cohen's?
Yes, sir. So with the Summer of Smart, we have so many appliances and electronics that are actually smart, which means that you can connect them to your internet. You can control them with your smartphone. We sell things from a simple standpoint of Roku, but we also have a lot of appliances. So you have refrigeration that actually hooks up to your Wi-Fi. You have washers and dryers that hook up to your Wi-Fi, which gives you a lot of flexibility as far as washing your clothes. You could put a load of clothes in the washer, have everything ready, and then on your way home you could hit the go button and have your clothes washed, and they can be washed when you get home, and then you just dump them in the dryer, and that way you don't have to wait 45 minutes for your wash cycle. But we also have a lot of cool things for the smart home as far as controlling door locks and lights and audio video systems and pools and sprinklers and garage doors. I mean,
It's not just
goes
like
on and on.
one thing people buy. It really can be this modular, like this whole big plan all throughout the home. With really cool stuff there.
And the cool thing is that you don't have to do it all at once. You can actually build upon it.
Yeah.
So you could do a couple of light switches that are in your great room in your kitchen, where you are most of the time, and then you can add some for your master bedroom or your patio and your living room, and you can just kind of grow the system. And once you get all your lights done, then you can do other things like door locks and your garage door, and you can have lights come on outside, and it's limitless what you can do.
And you just made me realize we've come a long way as a society since the clapper.
That's right.
Do you still have one of those back in your warehouse, though? I mean, clap on, clap off. Joey. That was really efficient.
The clapper.
Yes.
Yeah, we've never had to clap at Cohen's.
Y'all get by Cohen's today. I mean, of course, you can always check them out online at thinkcohens.com, but I really encourage you to stop by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. Open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael or one of their great team members. Say, hey, we're Michael on that show. Those morons on there.
Wow, morons. And we're paying for this?
Like I said, you know.
I know. Maybe we're the morons.
There you go.
No,
All
really.
right, y'all have a good day.
Thank you,
Appreciate it,
Michael.
Oh, I like that guy. And I like their institution. 65 years.
Yeah.
And Andrew Szymanski's still here in the studio with us. Like, we'll do an ad like that, and we'll get people calling up about his father running the
That's
record
right.
shop.
Over in Normandale.
Yeah, and it's just, that's a great family, great institution here in the city. And I think we got time to field a call or two. Let's go to Billy. Hey, Billy.
Hey, hope y'all doing well today.
Doing good. How you doing, Billy?
Doing good. Listen, I was listening to your interview, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned that Floyd possibly junior high and elementary school could be possibly torn down.
Potentially, yeah. We're looking at that's the Floyd School over off of LeBron Road, and it's been an inactive piece of property, and unfortunately, it's succumbed to quite a bit of arson and vandalism. That area has there's ball fields across the street that have overgrown, and there's just a great footprint there with the recreational, the therapeutic recreation center next door. So we're looking at ideas for what we could do if that footprint was available to us.
See, just a sad situation because there's so much history behind that school.
Yeah, no, it is, but we have to take kind of what. Where we're at now and really build for the future. And so rather than it just staying, just a relic there, which, yeah, I mean, one of my best friends grew up 2 streets over, remembers walking to that school as a child. And so, I know that there's a lot of history. And of course, whenever we can, we want to reuse. But because there's so much potentially open space there, I think we can do something pretty special out there. And that's what we're going to explore.
I can understand. You also mentioned in the interview that you've taken the dilapidated, high-risk areas, that most cities have high crime, but they have to be, updated and changes have to be made. I can understand that. But, has anybody ever looked into the city of Tuskegee? Because they tried that with Walmart. And where did Walmart end up going?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I say is like it's got to be more than just silver bullets, right? Like it's great to have big industry come, and that's really important. We should applaud our chamber for the work that they've done, the city has done to get that. But that's not the only thing. It's not, that was kind of more of the 80s and 90s where this idea that you bring the big thing here,
right,
and it transforms. Well, there's two problems. That number one is workforce readiness, whether or not you have people to work the big thing. Number two, I guess three problems. Two is that are the people that are working the big thing still living in the same city where the big thing is? And number three, if the big thing goes away, i.e. Alex, although I guess people around here call it Alex City. One of my other best friend's parents live up there.
People around here talk a little funny sometimes.
I know they do.
They also call it Russellville.
Exactly. Well, yeah, but when Russell was gone, you see what happens when the silver bullet's gone and what it leaves in its wake. So, yes, we need to focus on these areas, and what we have to do is we have to make sure we bring in big, small, tiny businesses and build in a smarter way in the future.
Okay. Well, good plans. Hope they come through for you, my friend.
Appreciate the call, Bill.
Thank you, Billy.
272-9228. I'll look at the time. Red Top, can you be patient?
No.
He can't be patient?
No.
I mean, he's on all the time. He knows how this works. But I've run out of time for this hour, and Counselor Szymanski is graciously going to stay on another segment here.
Good deal.
So y'all get in line at 272-9228. And I got more questions, too, obviously. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The Israeli military has urged all Palestinians to leave Gaza City and head south. The evacuation orders indicated Israel is pressing ahead with a fresh offensive across the north, south, and center of the territory, combating the Hamas terrorists. Two astronauts who should have been back on Earth 2 weeks ago say they're confident that Boeing's space capsule can return them safely. The pair said they expect to return once thruster testing is complete here on Earth. A defense attorney says that Alec Baldwin's shooting of a cinematographer was an unspeakable tragedy, but that he committed no crime. He was an actor acting. His attorney gave the opening statement in his involuntary manslaughter trial in New Mexico. Stocks are higher, the Dow up 192 points. This is SRN News.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-606-4110. 800-606-4110. Again, that's 800-606-4110.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Feeling a bit better out there today? Yes, it is. The humidity's come down just a notch. Mostly sunny, still hot, high 92 to 94, but the heat index may actually fall short of 100 today. That would be good. And the rain chances, while not zero, are certainly minuscule today. Our low temperature tonight, 72. Tomorrow, the rain chances still small. Same thing on Friday, but, not zero. I've got us around the mid-90s for a high tomorrow. Then upper 90s begin Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early next week. And over the weekend, a few random storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We're redesigning financial freedom at CB&S Bank. Make purchases at participating stores and restaurants using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile devices with Mobile Wallet. Charges and fees may apply for your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for more information. Member FDIC.
1819 News.
Alabama Congresswoman Terry Sewell is backing Joe Biden in his continued effort to be the Democratic presidential nominee. Sewell has posted on social media her support for the whole Biden-Harris ticket, calling it rock solid. Sewell says that Biden has delivered real progress for the American people. The statement from Sewell comes after other Democratic House and Senate members have called for Joe Biden to step down due to his mental decline. Republicans like Caroline Dobson here in Alabama are calling on Democrats to make their positions known publicly on where they stand with Biden. In particular, Dobson is calling on Shamari Figures to do so. Dobson and Figures are running for the seat in Alabama's new Congressional District 2. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Schaefer with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
Authorities in Cherokee County made an arrest of a burglary suspect while on jet skis. Sheriff's deputies were arriving at a home to make an arrest of 47-year-old Emmanuel Kaiser for theft of property. Kaiser ended up stealing a neighbor's boat to get across the lake and away from police. Other residents then offered their jet skis so police could go across the lake and capture Kaiser, which is exactly what happened after a lengthy foot chase. The city of Fairhope is going to hold a Narcan training event on July 31st at the Civic Center. The goal is to help community members effectively use the overdose reversing drug. The training session is a result of state funds that were given to Fairhope following a statewide opioid settlement. Those who participate in the training will also receive a free Narcan kit for future use. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group and an update on the real estate market in the River region. Sales of homes for the last 5 months will top 1,900 homes. Even though sales are slightly lower, the average sales price is still climbing. First-home homebuyers comprise over 34% of all sales, with no slowdown in sight for them. We now have more homes on the market in all price ranges, which gives buyers more choices than they've had in over 2 years. Some helpful suggestions for today's homebuyer would be: 1. Work with a local lender for your loan approval. 2. List 3 must-haves for your new home and seek to find properties to match your needs. 3. Work with an experienced and knowledgeable real estate agent to help you with your search, your showings, and receive advice on offers and negotiations. 4. Always use a licensed recommended home inspector when you find the home you choose. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Listen up. Little Fish Tales is reopening its doors soon right on Deatsville Highway. We're talking breakfast and a meat and 3 buffet style with mouth-watering flavors. Start your day off right with Little Fish Tales breakfast menu. And come lunchtime, you can dive into the delectable meats of perfectly cooked fish, juicy chicken, or savory ribs, all paired with your choice of delicious sides. Keep listening for details on the reopening. Little Fish Tales, Deatsville Highway.
Join us tomorrow from 11:30 to 12:30 at Riverside Chevrolet on 231 in Wetumpka as we are collecting items for our Operation Help and Hope benefiting new cancer patients via the Cancer Wellness Foundation of Central Alabama. Drop off your donation of new in-packaging Chemo Comfort Care Bag items such as hard candy, fuzzy socks, puzzle books, lip balm, and Boost nutritional drinks.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Man, sometimes the off-air conversation's better than on-air, but it's going to remain off-air. So, maybe you should do something that gets me to invite you on the show.
There you go.
Like run for office for city council, win, and be very open, transparent, always willing to have a conversation. Andrew Szymanski's here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And, and I like also, too, you're young, you're an entrepreneur, and you have a perspective that, you have perspective from all sorts of reasons. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, for people that don't know, I'm originally grew up in Northeast Massachusetts and made my way down south in 2004. 20 years. God, I graduated high school 20 years ago.
20 years.
I just thought about that. Went to the University of Georgia over in Athens, spent a little bit of time in Richmond, Virginia before making my way to Montgomery in 2010. So 14 years here. In 4 years will be the longest place that I've ever lived.
Now, what brought you originally to Montgomery?
Totally crazy. I was in Richmond, Virginia, in the corporate world for 6 months, and then due to some circumstances, something about how they tell you, like, don't chase the college girlfriend, back to her hometown.
Yep.
Something like that.
Just the way you said circumstance.
Yeah. I was like, I may as well be honest. This is a safe space, of course. But I actually joined AmeriCorps, and I was part of the Vistas program, which is Volunteers in Service to America, set up during the Kennedy years, and really was a program designed to address poverty by giving Vista workers go to nonprofits that can't afford staffs of their own. So I came here, worked for an organization called Bridge Builders Alabama, did a year, thought it was going to be 1 year, and then 14 years later, here we are.
Here we are. All right.
Well, and you get to talk to great local natives like Red Top here. Hey, Red Top.
What up, Red Top?
Hey, I waited an hour to talk to you, sir.
An hour?
Wow, I appreciate that.
Well, you guys are very long-winded. Let me give you an example.
I have a radio show.
And I'm a libertarian, just like Joey. We went to the same schools, too.
You got to stop lumping me in with you.
I will do my disclaimer tomorrow, Joey.
Okay.
Joey's not responsible for anything I say, but let me tell you what. Here's a good example of all this great utopia you're talking about spending, and all this money you're talking is purely obscene. That's why we have no voice in our government in Alabama, because it belongs to the federal government. Let me tell you, here's the example. Federal Drive. You know the last time they paid Federal Drive in Montgomery? 1996. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what they did in Federal Drive? So that's 4 mayors we've been through. Never paid Federal Drive. But they're going to go pave streets in some area of town. It's one of the most traveled streets in this area. Correct?
Correct.
Everybody comes through there to go to the fair. Now, they're fixing it now, and I can't believe it. And I just talked to one of the road workers. The excuse was before that it was federal. No, it belongs to the city. The state's paving it, not the city. And they planted trees down the middle of the street, but they never paved the street. So this is what's dysfunctional about all these programs. And, when I went to college, wasn't nobody building me housing, man. Me and 2 other guys rented half a condemned house in Tuscaloosa. That's part of going to school. I don't see this whole coddling of the society is a sickness, and the money is a sickness too. All you've been talking about is money the whole time you've been on. Why not lower our sales tax? Has anybody considered that?
I don't know, but I come from a state with where I grew up where the sales tax was 5% instead of 10. So, but again, there is a reality to revenue being needed to provide the services that we need to provide. And so the system that we have is one that gets revenue in a large way through the sales tax.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of rich people moving to Montgomery because I work on their houses constantly. Here's a classic example. A couple moved from Birmingham in their late 30s. They bought a $475,000 house. They want to move to Montgomery to start their family. There's so much business moving here; it's unbelievable. So, all this stuff that y'all are doing, they've been doing it for years and years. All the Gateway Park problems and all that. A lot of money, man. I think the citizens of Alabama need a break.
Well, I appreciate the call, Red Top.
Thank you.
Roll Tide, go Trump. Thank you.
Classic Red Top right there. He kind of like is he
I do
criticizing? Is
agree
he
with him on
agreeing?
one thing. We could use a break on taxes.
Oh yeah, well,
yeah. I don't think you're going to get.
No,
people
I said
that
this
argue
on
with that. I'm sorry.
on Jeff Ford's show earlier today. Like, if I could just get rid of federal taxes, if I could get rid of state taxes, and the mayor actually mentioned this. If it was like pure home rule, like the municipality you decide to plant your roots in, I'll have a conversation about taxes.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things that the home rule is a great example. Is that anything like that related, right? Even if you wanted to shift the taxing that we have around, right? One of the things we benefit from as Montgomery homeowners is that we have one of the lowest tax rates of any municipality in the country by like far. Now, when that happens, though, you have to make up that revenue in other places. Now, sales tax is a great opportunity because not only does it hit locals, but it does hit people coming in. Right. We do the residency tax, or like the lodging taxes. And then also other things that was really, we can get a little bit more creative about this. It took, I think about 73% of hotel owners in the city of Montgomery all signed on to the TID, the Tourism Improvement District. That is going to now assess an additional, I think it's $1.30 or $1.50 on every room night here in Montgomery when you come to stay here, or like the length of your stay. It's like you pay an extra $1.50, and that goes directly back to the hotels and their properties, and then they're able to use that money to recruit conventions, make accommodations, help pay for additional transportation needs so that hotels out east can participate in the conventions that are happening in downtown. So there are some ways to do it where the citizens don't get hit, but really the people that are coming here get hit. But one imbalance that we do have, and it's we could debate tax forever, is just that we do, as a property owner, you do get to benefit from having a very, very low property tax. So.
Oh yeah, and I don't know. That's a state legislature thing.
Yeah,
too.
but you see other places where their property taxes are higher, they generally have a little bit better education system than we have. So I argue about raising property taxes here in Montgomery as a realtor, but only because I see the product that gets put out. If we had a better product, man, I would say jack these property taxes up.
Yeah, but, I mean it's a classic. I mean, this, I think you guys probably do this all the time. It's the classic chicken and the egg thing, right? Exactly. Everybody tells me, man, the school, if the schools are just there, they can never be fixed. No dollar will help them, and that may be the case.
I don't agree with that.
That may be I'm with you. Maybe maybe the idea is that. We could heavily invest in our school system and see after 10 years. But the problem that we have always is like is it the Montgomery now or the Montgomery 10 years from now? And not everybody, some people, I understand, go, well, shoot, I'm not going to be around in 10 years. So what is that? But that's how we built, we built this country that way. Yeah, we built this country that way.
Well, no, and the problem reminded me of this clip I found this morning. This is Elon Musk giving a basic lesson here.
The most common error of a smart engineer is to optimize a thing that should not exist. And to say, well, why would people do that? Well, everyone's been trained in high school and college that you got to answer the question, convergent logic. Yeah. So you can't tell a professor your question is dumb, you'll get a bad grade. You have to answer the question. Yeah. So everyone's basically, without knowing it, they got like mental straitjacket on. That is, they'll work on optimizing the thing that should simply not exist.
And I mean, it's been a huge thing in his rocket building, but I think that for government at all levels right now, I think that would be a good place to start for all of America right now, because there is a lot of legacies, and there's, I think, some things that shouldn't exist, and maybe it's replaced by something else. Right. But the house that is America seems like it's gone through many renovations, and we now have light switches. We don't even know what they're doing.
Exactly.
And not to mention the literal problems that you could say are some rot going on. So I don't know. I think Red Top's call got me thinking about all sorts of stuff.
Well, and then, there's just a reality. Like, look, there is a cost reality. It's more expensive than it's ever been to pave a mile of the street, right? It is more expensive to do. And while I think that there is a lot of valid reasons for saying, like, look, what happens in our city, and this idea that the federal government need not be still present. But guess what? While the rules of the game are this way, you can't tell me that when you talk enviously about places like Huntsville, the growth of Mobile, Birmingham, Chattanooga, whatever, and ignore the fact that one of the ways that they're doing that is by doing a very good job of leveraging federal dollars. So when we get announcements for things that seem kind of odd. People are like, what do you need $36 million to redo the voting rights trail? Well, there's $36 million available to do that, and we got it instead of somebody else. So let's do this thing and see what it yields for us.
Well, and to the libertarians out there, and Ron Paul, of all people, Ron Paul would always vote no on the budgets because he really thought we're spending way too much damn money in the Fed, yada, yada, yada. But while the rules of the game were what they were, Ron Paul would earmark for his district in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just basic being practical and sensible about that.
Yeah.
I mean, the money's coming. It might as well come here.
I mean, that's like, you think about it and you think about what the scorecard would look like. And I think if you put every, like, let's just say senator up and you looked at how many appropriations and dollar cents they brought to their district, the people at the bottom of that, you would look at that and you wouldn't go, man, good job for you.
Right.
Like, thank you for not bringing any more, any extra pork to the state of wherever it is. You would look at it and you would say, and it might surprise you, like, man, why so-and-so, Mr. Small Governments, whatever, so-and-so brought this much back? It's just how it's played. So
now, this is kind of in the opposite direction. Last night, the mayor was asked about, I thought it was a great question. I know there's some state lawmakers working on this, but an ordinance that parents are held liable for the actions of juveniles who commit crimes, especially heinous crimes. And the mayor brought up, well, I'm talking to legal. And a lot of issues, we got to talk to legal before we pass this ordinance. But then he suggested something that I violently agree with. I think on some of these situations, we should ask for forgiveness, not permission. Just do it. Like we need it now. I mean, I'm just not asking you to say, the law doesn't matter. I'm just, you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I mean, we there are some things where, like, when I want to do look into an ordinance, we always go, ugh, is that going to violate the home rule statutes and whatnot? But I think there is some validity to that because we see other people testing the boundaries and the idea that you pass something, you try and institute something, and then you get told by the state that you can't be doing that. Well, okay, then you just can't be doing that. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some validity to that for sure.
Is there be the normal way
best
things
I
are
could
doing
say
now?
publicly? Yeah,
Especially when it's something like people on medians and like at the interstate exits, or it's the parents. Like we need to just get something done immediately. That said, with the state legislature, is there something off the top of the mind where you're like, this would really help if the state legislature would pass this thing?
There's a couple of, there's probably more than a handful of things. One, I would say, I don't even really understand how the home rule and all that kind of still applies. 1973, the census and all that, whatever. That's probably never getting changed. I would love to see a focus on obviously public safety investments for municipalities, and at least have a conversation about what a city like Montgomery is supposed to do in lieu of an occupancy tax to be a place that accommodates the heartbeat of state workers, and so many people coming to our city needing our services. We've talked about taxes. I'm not saying that we just need another tax, but one thing that would be really interesting to explore is whether or not you could have an occupancy tax for people that don't live in Montgomery who work here every day, because our police department, fire, and all that stuff do participate in that, our roads and all that. And as I said, it's not a small amount difference between what we have and what Birmingham gets. They're getting like 60 to 80 to $100 million a year by having these. So that would be something that would be interesting to talk about. The other thing would be to continue figuring out how we can invest into our police force. We have a 300-acre piece of property out by the airport where there's a training ground. I've met some of the people out there, and it's a fabulous facility that has a plan that could make it one of the best training facilities and recruitment facilities in the state of Alabama. I'd love to see a focus on how we could continue to develop that, because obviously if people are training and doing recruitment stuff here, they might consider being police officers here. It's not really even at the state level, but one thing that we have to be pushing all of our elected officials for is the airport, right? The airport could use at least a $50 million expansion to the runways and improvements out there, plus more, so that we could increase our cargo capacity out there. I think the example that I was told was Louisville is a great example. They just expanded some runways, and then all of a sudden, now obviously they have a big tie-in with FedEx there, but the amount of just commerce that started flowing through there, and with the inland port that's coming here, and with the gigantic Amazon warehouse, the brand new FedEx warehouse.
Well, look at all the freight that comes in Birmingham
all
Airport.
the freight and all that,
and it gets trucked to here. I mean,
yeah. I mean, so I think a focus from the state on and at the federal level on the airport also would be some really
so too.
big things. But you brought up the roads project. Look, roads are expensive, and you would be blown away to see how fast we can, as soon as we allocate money for roads, it gets eaten up like that. Yeah, and that's just kind of like a reality of the situation. And so I'd love to see if the state would love to introduce some legislation to help with that as well.
Is that like an ongoing punch list with the roads, though? I mean, like today, tomorrow, these are our 3 hot project roads, but then something comes up. You got money for these 3, but a bigger crisis comes up with another road, and one of the roads gets bumped
so
out.
in short, because I'm sure not everybody wants to nerd out, as best as I know, I've been got a chance to meet out with the street maintenance team. They actually use cameras, like they use like a modern system that they drive, and it analyzes road quality. So
pretty cool.
It goes beyond just like, hey, there's a big pothole here, right? Because we can patch a pothole. There's a list of road projects, and some of that like is just built into this has to get done based on the fact that it's been since 1996 that something's been paid. But then also we can allocate district road budget money to pave things in our district that may not be on that. I know the people that live on my street are very disappointed because even though LeBron definitely needs paving, I'm not going to be allocating any money for paving on my street. But for the rest of District 7, we are going to look at some streets next year that we can do because we do have some thoroughfares that are in desperate need of it.
Now, I know you got to get out of here soon, so let's go to somebody else has been patient. Jenny.
Hey, Jenny.
Hello. Hey, Joey. This is your Jenny.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
She used to work here, Andrew.
Okay, well, you should
whatever. I mean,
whatever.
Yeah. With the Dan Morris show. It's all his.
I did. I've been Joey actually was our producer, but anyway, Andrew, I am your old neighbor from LeBron.
Oh,
you took care of my dogs after the house fire, Sailor and Olive.
I did.
You sure did. Just wanted to kind of break that and let you know who you were talking to. But I don't think you're long-winded. I think you're communicative, which I really appreciate. I mean, Andrew, I think that I would just listen to you because I want to know what's going on with the city and the county and the money. And, I was really glad to hear what's going to happen to the area over there where 1048 Bud, the collapsed building, the Hat Lady, that thing, I mean, the roof collapsed in that now.
Yep.
And the Capri and all that. So I was do we have any inkling of a timeline? I know it's almost impossible to answer.
Yeah, so I don't have an inkling for the timeline because I know that their approach is right now they're doing build to suit is the way they're doing the project. And so right now, as on top of doing site analysis, they're actually reaching out to potential tenants and trying to figure out how to build that. So I guess it really kind of depends on when they ink those, then decide what unit they're going to go into, and then start the process of actually building what is being requested by the tenant.
I get that. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm just glad it's such an eyesore. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Texas Roadhouse, I mean, I love Texas Roadhouse. Who doesn't love Texas Roadhouse? 3 stories, bring it.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm gonna get a call from Michael, and he's gonna be like, "Why is everybody telling me that Texas Roadhouse is coming here?"
It's not true.
Which that's not that it would be bad.
No.
I'm just saying is that we
rolls?
have no evidence of that, and Eddie and I do not have any financial stake in a Texas Roadhouse.
Not yet.
Not yet. So, Andrew, we know you were kidding. When we had our house fire, Joey, Andrew and his roommates lived right next door. Here comes the fire. He lifts Sailor and Olive up over the fence, keeps my dogs for 2 weeks.
Awesome.
While we settle into the new house on Audubon.
Yep.
Well, I already liked him. I like him even more now. I appreciate the call, Jenny. We're running out of time here, but I really great hearing from you.
Thank you, Gina.
Thanks.
Well, do appreciate the time for you.
It was.
Yeah,
and
no,
now
this
it's
is great.
he's a hero too.
Well, and to her point, I mean, look, we say this every time, but I enjoy doing this, and it seems like with the listening tours that we're doing, we're going to reboot those up again next week. We'll be having one. Those have been going really well. I'll be doing coffee with the counselor. I keep wanting to say candidate, but I'm not a candidate anymore. Counselor at the Hilltop at 3:00 on Friday. Because I do think that genuinely, to your point earlier about people, like people do care, right?
Yeah.
and they want us. They want to be heard because everybody has valid opinions about how we can solve some of the problems that we're solving, and also how we can enjoy the good things that are happening and that we have here as well. I think we know that there is a lot of opportunity and some good things coming. We have to make sure our house is in order so that we can enjoy those safely, confidently, and just be good neighbors of each other.
There you go.
I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate your time, and we'll do it again soon. Y'all stay tuned. More news and views after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Did you know that 1 in every 3 people are expected to be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime? 1 in 3. That is an astonishing statistic that impacts almost everyone. The Cancer Wellness Foundation of Alabama serves cancer patients in the River Region and gives help and hope to those who need assistance on the road to recovery. This is where we come in. Blue Water Broadcasting and Shashi's Bakery and Fine Foods asks you to join in our Operation Help and Hope. We are collecting items to go in chemo comfort care bags that are offered to all new cancer patients. Items we're collecting include new in-packaging fuzzy socks, Boost nutritional drinks, blankets, digital thermometers, hard candy, pill boxes, travel-sized tissues, small hand sanitizers, lip balm, puzzle books, and pens. Bring your donation to Shashi's Bakery and Fine Foods on Mulberry Street in Montgomery. Shashi's Bakery and Fine Foods, serving all of your favorites for 32 years and counting. Donate what you can. Operation Help and Hope from Blue Water Broadcasting and Shashi's Bakery and Fine Foods.
To find out how you can help, go to newstalk931.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. It's time to get your cooling system ready for the long, hot summer. Call today about the advantages of the Clark Club membership to be sure you're covered. Call 277-2125. Better call Clark. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Feeling a bit better out there today? Yes, it is. The humidity's come down just a notch. Mostly sunny, still hot, high 92 to 94, but the heat index may actually fall short of 100 today. That would be good. And the rain chances, while not zero, are certainly minuscule today. Our low temperature tonight, 72. Tomorrow, the rain chances still small. Same thing on Friday, but, not zero. I've got us around the mid-90s for a high tomorrow. Then upper 90s begin Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early next week. And over the weekend, a few random storms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
Happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm Joey. He's Eddie.
Hey, buddy.
Do appreciate Andrew Szymanski being in here.
I do appreciate it. He comes in regularly, and he doesn't hold back.
Oh, he's great.
We can ask him anything we need to ask
it's just you get to know people.
Yeah.
I like Andrew a lot.
And I like again, he's not from around here, obviously, but he doesn't have those trappings from being around here. He really thinks outside the box.
Now, just to change pace here, Eric the dog will come to you in a second. I was telling you off air, Eddie, this is completely random, folks. I found it on the Twitter.
Okay.
But it's a city, I don't even know which city, but a city in Finland.
Finland.
If I had to point it out on a map, I might have a little trouble. I think it's right near the Nordic countries.
Yes.
But Finland,
mm-hmm.
There's a problem there that migrants are sexually assaulting women. Very
Really?
serious issue.
Really?
And so the city council, it looks like 5 of them, have come up with a little song and dance routine to respond to this ongoing problem there. You know, you think we've got issues in Montgomery, and then I see this is what they're doing in Finland to, again, stop sexual assault of women by migrants. They came up with this song and dance. Watch your monitor here, Eddie,
All right.
so you can actually see what's going on.
Ooh.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no sweater. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no sweater.
Obviously, very white country. We'll start with that.
Yeah.
And boy, if I'm an immigrant and I see that song and I'm like, oh, they don't welcome that here.
Stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Can we get that on a shirt?
And it shouldn't make you laugh because it's so serious, but I'm like, that's what you came up with?
Right.
Really?
And were those uniforms? Was this an old Devo video?
Right, yeah. It's just like...
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no sweater.
I mean, very catchy.
Yeah, it is a bit of an
I don't think
earworm.
that's what they were looking for.
Like, it shouldn't make you... The music shouldn't be that happy.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to dance, right?
It's like that Outkast song, Hey Ya. It's like the lyrics are incredibly
Yeah.
depressing, but, you know, we'll do it in a fun way. The world these days. Let's go to Eric the dog. Hey, Eric.
What up, dog?
How y'all doing?
I'm doing okay.
I'm doing okay. Don't touch me there. That's my no-no square. Dude, literally,
This is my no-no sweater.
literally what we tell our 6-year-old grandkid. No, that's your no-no square. Don't let anybody touch you there.
Well, now you have a video to go along with your lecture. So
He's 6. You know, the sad part is those immigrants probably don't even speak enough English to understand that. That's targeted
another good
for 'em.
point, Eric. Another good point.
No, I think anybody of any culture can interpret that pretty quick. Like,
What? All right, so look, I can't see the video, so there's some guys up there dressed up like Devo.
Oh, not just
from,
guys.
A Dune video.
That's 3 women in front, 2 guys in the back,
Yep.
and no, they're wearing more like they work at
vests?
like a moving company together.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So they got their hand, it's probably wide open, and they're going right in front of their no-no square and making a circle, right?
Well, it's more like a
Hand
safe
movement,
motion, but like, you know, safe at
Safe.
home, but
Yeah.
like moving it.
They were
Are they
voguing.
sure? Are they sure the message they're conveying?
I don't.
I don't know, or maybe there's something they've done studies that things that are allude to craft work upset the immigrants or
Right.
something. I don't know.
Maybe it is. That's it. Maybe that's it.
We have to consider that we are out of our depth here.
That's
I don't
a
know.
big situation of
Maybe-
at least do something. You don't have to be right, but do something. Well, they did
Maybe
something.
they could have a video with a guillotine on it. I don't know. I mean, the whole idea is to deter, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
No, what I'm going through right now is I really enjoyed Szymanski on. I enjoyed having Jeff Poor on, but I found there were so many clips today. Now, I know Ben Shapiro's not as popular as he was, especially with the more populous
I still
Trump
like him, but
country.
just his voice.
But Ben Shapiro, for all the disagreements I have with him, he can own the libs every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And so Eric Swalwell,
Swalwell.
You know, you bang one Chinese spy.
It stays with you the rest of your life.
And so Swalwell, apparently Shapiro was in front of Congress or something for some committee hearing. Swalwell wanted to go after him, and here's how it went down.
Thank you for joining us today. I think it is important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And the country has, in the last couple of weeks, talked a lot about and Googled Project 2025. It's one of the most Googled search terms right now.
Yeah, because we're R-worded in this country. It's just, thank you. Anyway, keep going, Swalwell.
And you're not going to get any censorship from me. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, I think it would help us understand on just like a scale of 0 to 100%, how much do you support Project 2025?
I think, like President Trump, I haven't looked all that deeply at Project 2025, but it seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so
even Swalwell's laughing.
Got him.
Okay, that was pretty damn good.
That's fun. Hey, I like old Andrew. You reckon he can cajole any of those? I live in West Montgomery. Reckon you? I tried to look up who that was, and I'm not sure I got the right person for my representative or my council person, because I think it's a woman. Not that it matters. Don't care.
You're right,
but some of those people coming on will be good. You know, it's good that he comes on because he's just tearing them up. They if they have good points or they have good ideas, we don't know about it. We heard from somebody earlier this week that had an idea about, you know, community and how things should go, and that was crap. Andrew's a fresh breath of air. It's at least educated and on topic, and he's got some inside information there. But more of that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't agree with him about, you know, because we're homeowners and we pay taxes, we get certain services that are just, we're glad we get. Education being the one that I have the biggest. You don't get to be a part of city government and then tell me how you're helping the schools, because the only time we run for mayor, the whole time Stephen Reed was running for mayor the first time, well, the mayor's office doesn't have anything to do, or the city doesn't really have anything to do with education. But you're going to raise my taxes behind it, and I'm paying twice what I was paying last year, and it's going to go up again because that mill rate crap was going to increase for 3 years. So thank you for that. I'm not seeing nothing better around my house because I'm paying more taxes. Nothing.
Well,
and I mean, I appreciate him. Nothing. So what? Nothing.
That's how a lot of people feel, to be honest.
I paid for my kids' education out of my pocket, and somebody else's kids, probably here illegally, their education. But I couldn't send my kid to these schools around here and not get an education, and the education I felt like they deserved.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, and
teacher's gonna.
To your original point, I think it's a good one, and I'm just reminding myself who's on the council now. The only person I haven't met, I believe, is Frenetta Riley. I've interviewed Marche a few times. I've talked to Aronde, CC. Don't know them very well. And also it's been a while since Glenn Pruitt's been on these airwaves.
Wow, it has been a while.
Maybe reach out to
Glenn
Pruitt
Pruitt
and
reminds me of a
Grimes.
guy in Atlanta that used to be a news guy. Every time I hear Glenn Pruitt, I think a newscaster. There used to be one in Atlanta when I was growing up. He did the news. I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but
I don't think
I don't
it
think
is.
the same guy.
Wait, have you been
Probably
pulling
not.
a red top today?
Well, I was thinking I was channeling
He is a
Red
painter.
Top, but then I remembered I have too much body fat. I'm too stupid, and I don't play any instruments anymore. So I was just gonna give my best attempt, and I'm sorry I let y'all down.
It's
But
all right.
It's all right. It was a good attempt.
Atlanta's not any better than Montgomery at any stretch of the imagination, but it's not as bad as some people try to make it out either.
Well, before you go, Eric, I'll leave you with this because, you know, Trump's been having a lot of fun at his rallies, but I always love the clips that make the rounds from a Trump rally that somebody on the left who doesn't like him is sharing.
Oh.
And especially when it's out of context and you don't know what he said the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
So here's Donald John Trump, and apparently this is something the left is sharing on the Twitter.
That's supposed to be a little bit Democrat territory, but we're leading in Nevada, and a waitress came over, beautiful waitress, and I never like talking about physical. She's beautiful inside. Because you never talk about a person's look. Ever. You never mention it. The other day, I got very angry. Some man called Chris Christie fat. And I said, sir, and then he said he was a pig. I said, sir, Chris Christie is not a fat pig. Please remember that. He is not a fat pig. Please take it back. And the guy's looking at me like, really? No, we have to defend people. You can't call people fat.
Yeah, Joey.
So I said about 9 times, he is not a fat pig.
And they're sharing that as a negative, and it's like, no, that's hilarious.
Pretty good, actually, yeah.
No, that's funny. We can't call him fat. He's, can't. Radio.
And he stood up for him 9 times.
Well, people are like, look how all over the place he is. He can't keep a coherent thought. And I'm like, no, that's the same Trump from 16.
Right.
Like, come on.
Right.
Like, he hasn't changed. It's not the same thing going on with Biden.
I think he's mellowed a little bit, but I don't know how long that mellow's going to last.
No, kick it up. That's what we love. We love a wrecking ball. That's what we want. We want a wrecking ball.
We do. You're
Just
right.
Tear it all down, start over, break it back down to the city governments, the local governments, and then we'll build from there.
Well, and then Biden's been on the trail of trying to, get support from unions and stuff at the NATO summit today. But this came out of Biden.
I come from a household with a 3-bedroom. We weren't poor, but we weren't. We didn't have anything left over at the end of the month. And but 3-bedroom house, 4 kids. Grandpa lived with us. Someone lived with us full time. I look back now and wonder how my dad handled those thin walls. But anyway.
Well, he used to take Joe down to the pool. Go down to the pool, Joe. Get your ice cream.
Did he really say that? I don't know how my dad handled those thin walls. It's just ew.
Yeah, a lot of you. A lot.
Grandpa getting wild over there.
Yeah.
Dude, this is comical. If it wasn't so serious, it would be a stand-up special. You could just film this guy and put him on Netflix and call it the Joe Biden special.
Yeah.
And not Joe Biden special, just the Joe Biden special.
And I know Eddie's got to get out of here. I know I keep saying I'm going to let you go, but there was another one of Trump at his rally that was making good on, how they got fighting about their golf swing.
Oh, Joey. Joey.
Then Biden put out something like, "Oh, I'll fight you, or I'll not just fight you. I'll play you in golf anytime. I'll give you 3 strokes there." Something like that.
Yeah.
So here's a clip that kind of reminds you what happened in the debate, and then Trump at the rally. Let's hold on. Hold on. Dadgummit. For some reason the audio and the stream just went out.
The funny part is, what if Trump could get that hot tour girl to be his
yeah.
I don't think he'd afford her at this point.
Here it is. Here's the clip.
Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6.
No, an 8.
But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag.
I'm also officially challenging Crooked Joe to an 18-hole golf match right here.
Yes.
At Doral.
On Doral's Blue Monster, considered one of the greatest tournament golf courses anywhere in the world, one of the great courses of the world. It will be among the most watched sporting events in history. Maybe bigger than the Ryder Cup or even the Masters.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
And I will even give Joe Biden 10 strokes aside. 10 strokes, that's a lot.
That's a
That
lot.
means 20 strokes in case you don't play golf. I will give him 10 strokes aside, and if he wins, I will give the charity of his choice, any charity that he wants, $1 million.
$1 million.
Okay, so what was the White House response? Certainly they're like, hey, charity, $1 million, and I'm not going to play this guy in golf? Certainly we'll take
no,
this
the
challenge.
Biden response was something like, no, we challenge you to address the debt crisis. We challenge you to, it was like some 25-year-old woman staffer wrote it up.
Yeah.
Well, I challenge you to, it's like, he just
I mean, you just laid down the gauntlet to the most powerful man in the world, and he comes back with, no, we challenge you.
Well, you burned the bacon once.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
If Joe can be my caddy, I'll go.
And what's the whole thing? You got to carry your bag. I don't know much about golf, but I usually only see the guys in the carts.
It's a little more strenuous to walk the course and carry the bag.
Okay, you think Biden can carry a bag? I don't think he can carry his club.
All I need is a
That is
thin walls with pop up.
Right. What's that for?
Appreciate it, Eric.
See you, dog.
Yeah, I know you got to get out of
Yeah, I
here.
gotta run.
So appreciate you too. Hey, before you go, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services.
Great folks, Joey.
And they're at Pest Pro Ashley and the team are ready to help you out with all your pest control needs, or if you need a specific thing done, like mosquito treatment, which you had done.
Works very well.
It is a great idea. Like if you really are tired of the mosquitoes, they can help you. Of course, they can do inspection and treatments for termites as well.
Got that happening today.
So again, if you're looking for a great local trusted pest control company, go with Pest Pro
100%.
Services. That number 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey and Eddie, those fellows on the radio, sent you. We'll be back with Ray Bowles. See you, Eddie.
See you, bro.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, from the moment we pick up the phone, you will hear the difference. We are passionate about what we do. To us, you're not just another applicant. When you call on us, you are trusting that we have your best interest at heart, and we do. We treat our customers like family, and that's why our customers turn into family, coming back to us time and time again. We know you have many options when it comes to mortgage financing, and we appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. We are excited to hear from you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586 368, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, this is David Little from Tucker Pecan Company. We've been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for over 10 years now, and the results have been amazing. Every day we have new customers that come in that have heard us on all the different radio stations that we advertise on. If you want to help your business grow, the best way to do it is through radio advertising through Blue Water Broadcasting. They do a great job in promoting our business and helping us grow our business, and hopefully they can help you grow your business too.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Hey guys, are you looking for a professional and reliable tree service company in the Montgomery and surrounding areas? Well, check out the folks at Tree Masters. It's a name you know and trust. From pruning to full tree removal, they'll even help you remove your shrubs. They service all of central Alabama, including Lake Martin and Lake Jordan. Call them for a free quote today at 334-676-3638. That's 334-676-3638. Tree Masters.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The premier place the river region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray.
Well, Bart got me. He tricked me.
Bart tricked you?
Uh-huh. He said, hey, I need you to go look at something with me.
Mm-hmm.
And get the truck, get to my truck now on the passenger side, and I put it in the GPS thing, and it's 50 miles away. And he said, oh, by the way, I got a 3 o'clock appointment with Wetumpka, which was another 50 miles away. So I've been riding around Bart for 2 hours, all because he didn't want to use his gas.
Dadgum.
I know. He got me. He totally got me.
But, he's still a good guy, though, right?
I mean, he's great. He's a wonderful salesperson. He knows, very knowledgeable. If you need to know anything about floors, call David. Because he just wasted about, I don't know, $40 in gas. But no, seriously, what we're doing, we went and looked at one little shower on the other side of town, and now we're heading all the way to Wetumpka on 111 to look at a whole other remodel house. So if you're in the market for showers, laminates, vinyl planks, carpet, whatever you're in the market for, call us at 285-8117. And normally we will not complain about coming out to measure you unless they trick me to get the truck and drive all over the place like chauffeur. Then I complain a little bit.
And you could always do it here, but folks, you got to call 285-8117. Ask for David at 285-8117. And also be sure to tell him you heard Ray on the radio here with Joey, that fella. Appreciate it, Ray.
We'll call you tomorrow. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Yes, sir. Well, Eddie had to leave early. I'm all alone here for 5 minutes. A few things I've been watching. I will say it is a incredibly weird pairing, but one of my favorite sit-down, just podcast conversations, interviews I've watched in a while is the comedian Ari Shaffir with Tucker Carlson. Ari Shaffir is just, his comedy can be so dirty and he doesn't hold back. But it was one of the funniest, I think, most insightful conversations I've heard in a while. So look that up if you like that sort of content. Again, Ari Shaffir on with Tucker Carlson. But then I also watched a speech. There's this ongoing event called NatCon, or National Conservatism Convention. And they had a bunch of big speakers, senators, Josh Hawley there calling himself, well, I'm a Christian nationalist. And so many different people planting their flag in different ways about this new movement, supposedly, that we have. One guy gave about a 45-minute speech, then answered questions for a while, was the only Vivek Ramaswamy. And I think he made a good distinction for the thinking folks out there in the new right-wing conservative movement. What sort of nationalism will we have? And here's just a flourish from this 40-something minute speech.
I don't think we're going to beat the left by adopting the methods of the left. I don't care to replace a left-wing nanny state with a right-wing nanny state. Our goal is to dismantle the nanny state altogether, permanently, once and for all, to burn it and metaphorically burn its ashes once more. And if we succeed in doing so, that will mark the beginning of an American revival that starts with the radical principle of the American founding, that the people who we elect to run the government will once again be the ones who actually run the government. Saying hell no to the vision of old world Europe that distrusts we the people, that said we the people can't be trusted to sort out our differences on climate change or racial equity. We say hell no to that vision. We the people, for better or worse, will govern ourselves without the managerial class of the administrative state telling us how we live our lives, and we will not take over that apparatus for the purpose of redirecting it. We're going to get in there for the purpose of actually once and for all shutting it down.
And that was in response to a lot of other conservatives saying, well, we just need to get tougher on things like, if a bank gets a bailout, then we got to recoup the CEO's salary or something. And Vivek's point is like, okay, but maybe we shouldn't bail out banks in the first place. And there's so much to that where the right wants to do on the margins like they've done for decades, or maybe we could actually make the arguments to say that there's a lot of this stuff in especially our federal government, that doesn't need to exist. It needs to be knocked down. And here's the kicker. I think once some of that is knocked down, if that day ever comes, there will be a lot of people who screamed and wailed and yelled and all the noises. Oh, don't knock it down, you fascists, all this stuff. And after it's knocked down, nobody will miss it one iota. And nobody will try to rebuild much of what is knocked down. Because they'll see once it is knocked down, or burned metaphorically, and then its ashes burned again, as Vivek just said, they realize, well, we can kind of start fresh here, whether it's government or just society in general. I think that's the guy who's got his pulse on the future, at least for the right. Of course, there's going to be disagreements, but I like what he is selling these days. And of course, we'll find out maybe in the coming days, very soon. Again, next week is the Republican National Convention, starting on Monday. It's already upon us. VP announcement most likely coming up soon. And of course, also on the show, we will continue to talk to local folks about the ongoing crime issue and anything else that might be coming up. But we're heading into the thick of this general election here in the dog days of summer, and I am, relishing it, like I've been advising. It's going to be frustrating, but it's also going to be freaking hilarious. So let's enjoy ourselves, even if we're all a little miserable and uptight and anxious about the results. In fact, that was the best point of that Ari Shaffir sit down with Tucker Carlson, is that at the end of the day, most of this stuff really, to your own personal life, to the things that mean the most to you, does not matter. We're more spectators than anything else. And we can have our hopes, we can have our fears. We got to keep in mind that there are much more important things. Unless you're at the highest level playing the game, you should more just sit back and enjoy the show, no matter who wins. That said, happy hour with Greg Budell. He's next. Thanks for listening.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.